Hello.
Why, hello?
Hey, it is now. Gotta figure out this lighting.
I know.
So
we're
we need
sorry.
we need a blackout curtain over here so that I am not so intensely lit. Hi, dog. Did you really? Yep, it's time for the show to start.
Oh no, we had a book.
A book. That's right.
We swore against books.
Jackie Chan's autobiography. I've been reading it. Hi. Hello, Eli and Naomi. Hi, y'all. It is now 7 p.m. Central, and no matter where you are, you are in a video store. The online space to hang out and talk about movies with friends for people who miss hanging out with their friends in real life and talking about movies. I'm one of your two clerks/hosts for the evening. My name is Adam Protextor.
And I am your co-host/co-clerk, Stephanie Thoreson. Stephanie Thoreson.
And
back to you with the weather, Dan.
And the pitter-patter that you hear is our dog, who apparently, now that we're in our new space, can hear our stream start and gets up for it every time.
Yes.
The chat is just over here to my right, so I'm going to be looking over here to read stuff from the chat. And let's explain real quick how this show breaks down. We got someone new in the chat, Eli Naomi. Welcome.
Hello.
Happy early birthday.
Oh, it's almost my birthday too. Shout out to Aries season.
Aries season approaches.
Officially started yesterday.
Problematic.
Well,
I'm going to talk. I'm a Scorpio. The show breaks down into three segments. The first is going to be What Did You Watch, which we'll warm up here and we'll get to. We're going to go ahead and ask you, what did you watch? We're going to tell you what we watched. We're going to talk about those things together. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to do new arrivals, which we do have some fun new arrivals that came in the mail this week of new movies to the collection that we're excited to watch. And then finally, Movie Club. Our Movie Club pick this week was Interstella 5555. The secret, the story of the secret star system. That's right.
Yeah.
Really fun one that was. Can't wait to talk about it. Yes, Pathos. You saw on Twitter, correctly, Pathos, that we did watch a certain music-based movie. Wish we could have watched it a little louder, because, as we've talked about, we're trying to be not too loud with our movies. But real exciting news here is that we finally sprung for some wireless headphones. We got some surround sound headphones. So we're going to be back in the business of watching movies fully sonic mode.
Investment, baby.
Investment in our future.
Well, I guess before we...
Hello, Glowcat.
Hello, Glowcat. I guess before we jump into new arrivals, let's just do a check-in.
Check-in.
Let's do a check-in. Why not?
Yeah, how are y'all doing this week?
Walk up to the counter and let us know how you're feeling.
Yes, how are you doing? And / what did you watch? We are still figuring out this light thing, so I think we need to get a blackout curtain. There's a window just to the right of me, to the left of your frame. However, we have a ring light here that I was hoping would help balance out. See, does the ring light... There you go. Maybe I'll just turn the ring light on once the sun sets a little more.
That's good.
Okay. I guess. Or just turn the ring light down. Sheesh, ring light.
Hey, look at that. Glowcat made a Google Docs about what they watched.
Oh, nice. That's amazing. I have my little... personally, I have it in my notes app on my phone. Look, I didn't watch much. I got to be real with y'all. Mm-hmm. The big reason behind that, let's just jump in to the big thing. Yes, Pathos. Yes, Glowcat. Okay, so we're starting. Good. Let's jump into the big thing first. The Snyder Cut. So, that took me... Okay. The reason... I haven't finished it yet.
You didn't finish it last night?
No, I didn't finish it last night. I tried to, and I fell asleep again at the same exact part. Every night, we have still been staying up way too late, marathoning Sex and the City. Frankly, because it was a comfort food show, and now I'm hooked, and we're in the final stretch here. We've got 3 episodes left.
Yeah, also, before our headphones arrive, it feels like a nice thing that you can actually turn the volume down, put the subtitles on, and not be like, wow, this is really changing the experience.
Yeah, exactly. We Glowcat, I think the only thing you missed is that we said we got some nice surround sound headphones coming in the mail, so that we can watch things at proper volume. So again, both of us keep doing this thing where we're like, do you want to watch this movie tonight? And we're like, no, because I don't want to watch that super quiet with subtitles on. Yeah. I want to I want to hear, like, we almost watched Demons last night. We're like, no.
Oh, God, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
We gotta, I gotta hear it.
She's got to hear it. She's never seen Demons.
I've never seen Demons. I think we talked about Demons last week. Glowcat was saying it was one of their favorites, maybe?
Uh-huh.
Was it Glowcat? I've never seen either, and I'm super excited because it's a giallo horror, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's technically giallo or if it's just monster horror. I don't know. It's a good question. I think it often gets lumped in as a giallo, but I don't know technically if I'd call it that. There's also another kind of, like, I feel like giallo is more mystery slasher based, like more like a pulp novel.
Yeah.
But there's also another yellow pages.
Yellow.
There's also
Jello.
It's yellow.
It's yellow.
Jello.
It's like Jello.
Oh no. We should eat yellow Jello while we... Okay. Anyway, I don't know. That's interesting. I think that it would be this other kind of, like, subgenre of Italian horror film that I would say, like, demonic horror. Mm-hmm. Because you got, Rome, your city, Rome, with Cinecittà and all the movie studios, is right there with the Vatican. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Catholic terror is a real thing in Spanish and Italian horror specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Glowcat saying, not a giallo, almost a zombie movie, but it's not.
See, that intrigues me more.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I would say demonic horror. I think that's like demonic horror is a fair Italian genre.
Yeah.
And then zombie kind of lumps over with cannibal horror, kind of, but not. A lot of interesting stuff in Italian horror. We can do a deep dive into that. Maybe this for Halloween this year.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, went off on a little tangent there. What we were basically saying is we spent yet another week kind of just binging Sex and the City with, and getting everything set up and organized.
Oh yeah, the shows are actually kind of done now.
Yeah.
I think last week it was like, hey, I need help. Give me advice on what I should be doing here. Mm-hmm. Basically, like, broke it down. There's a lot in the drawers. You can't see, but these shelves have drawers below them. You can see if you go to our Instagram. There's a nice photo of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And yesterday was the first day. We kind of decided yesterday we'd take a day to actually relax. And the plan was to, like, marathon movies.
Yeah.
Which we ended up sleeping a whole lot and watching one movie and then watching Sex and the City. Or watching two movies.
I think maybe our bodies were just not for it. Not here for it.
But it was fun. I will say, yesterday, you ran out and you were like, let's make a small cue stack. And it was really nice to feel like I could actually go to the wall and browse again. Mm-hmm. It was really nice just walking around and, like, ooh.
And as you had noted before we moved, because I was lamenting having to pare it all down so much and put some in boxes, and Stephanie was like, look, you're going to know what you have in boxes for the most part. If it's, I think the philosophy there was, if it's, like, of dire need to watch this, keep it out. If you know you can find it streaming or you can find that box easily, pack it up. But I remember you had said...
Pack it up.
Pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. I believe that you had said that you would find it easier to browse and pick things out with a smaller selection to choose from.
I did. I get overwhelmed by too many options. And for me, sometimes going into the old space, I would be like, because also you would shift things around so much.
Yeah.
So I would never know what section was moving where. But yesterday, it was really nice because it was like everything is like very clearly defined. And not saying that you should have smaller collections, but I think, if you have less out, you might actually watch more.
Well, can I tell you what that actually harkens to the ultimate goal of this, which is to have a video store, which is to have sections. Mm-hmm. And then the sections, you can say, I'm feeling like, that's how I used to be. Remember at my old place when we first met, when I had a full wall built?
And you had sections there. You had action.
But I had like Italian horror.
Yeah.
You could be like, this is what I'm in the mood for. We'll get there.
That's what's up.
We'll get there eventually. Long story short, we were trying to keep it quiet this week and not watch a lot of the things on our big queue shelf, like Seven Samurai we talked about, some samurai, some Italian. We didn't want to watch stuff that felt like it deserved a full, theatrical sound experience.
That's surround sound.
Yeah, and we're going to get those headphones and we're going to have a great time doing that. Those actually might arrive during this show. Which would be rad. But Sex and the City, the point is that because we watched Sex and the City to around like 1 a.m. every night, Then I would put on the Bluetooth headphones that we do have, but we can't watch the same thing on them. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The Bluetooth headphones that Stephanie has. And I would borrow them and watch. I tried to watch Justice League, but I would always start it after midnight. I always start it really late. And I gotta tell y'all, I made it through, like, you know, the movie is split into 7 sections. I made it through, like, 1 or 2 of them a night. So I'm still only about halfway through the movie right now. And last night I attempted to finish it, and it just was a total non-starter. I was too sleepy right away. I knew it. And the reason is because the point I have it paused at right now is a midway through the movie. It's the halfway point fight. And there's something about the CG fight that I'm just like, boom, like I fall right asleep for. I'm like so up for dialogue, especially in superhero movies. But the big fight sequences are not really what I show up for.
Sometimes I've felt that way too, or like you'd think that those, it just sort of becomes like almost like white noise.
Yeah.
When you're sleepy, you're like,
It's like Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
The Transformers movies, I only finished the first one because my brain cannot stay like engaged on what is that fake thing for that long.
Mm-hmm. But back to the Snyder Cut,
yes.
Looks like Pathos maybe had some thoughts, and as well as Glowcat.
Love the movie a day thing. Glowcat just responded to the most recent thing said, and I will scroll up. Okay, so Pathos, want to hear your thoughts, and I'm gonna say something real quick. In general, I don't think longer movies feel like a chore, but I have not felt the space to start this one at a reasonable hour. The wrong 4-hour movie can definitely feel like a chore, and maybe this is that. I don't know, because I've watched it in such a weird way. I almost feel like at this point I should just start it over from the top and try to one-off it.
Really? In one sitting?
I feel, I mean, like, it's not that long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you start it at a reasonable hour, for sure.
Yeah, it's not like a Bellatar movie that's going to be 11 hours long. Like, one of the movies that's here in the queue shelf is a 12-hour movie called Satan Tango, which is a 12-hour movie about Hungarian peasants walking. And that one will probably feel like more of a chore. But maybe not. Some of my favorite movies are very long. I gotta say, my few thoughts on it so far, and I will save most of my thoughts till next week. Sounds like Glowcat's gonna try and get around to it as well. So Pathos, want to hear your thoughts, spoiler free please, and I'll tell you what I thought off the bat. First of all, the first thing that stood out to me right off the bat is I love this aspect ratio. Stephanie had to hear me talk about the aspect ratio a lot this week.
Yeah, a lot.
I love 4:3.
A lot.
I love 4:3 so much. I think, like, I earnestly love the 4:3 ratio. It's like the God ratio to me. I made a Facebook status about that, and a bunch of friends, like, haha reacted. And I was like, no, you guys, I'm not.
I'm being earnest.
Dead serious. I really love this because, just as a quick crash course, I have a piece of printer paper or something around here that I could tear up. I wonder if I could use a piece of notebook paper. Hold on. Y'all probably know this. I'm probably not. You know that if we'd gotten that whiteboard that we talked about getting.
Oh, yeah.
Would have been perfect. Okay. Quick crash course in why I love this. Also, I gotta say, this has gotten me into trouble before talking about movies in this particular aspect ratio, specifically with Stanley Kubrick, because Kubrick loved to shoot in the 4:3 ratio because he was a still photographer for Life magazine before his film career started. So he stuck with that ratio for a long time, and I think breaking it only with 2001, which is wide to be the wideness of space, right? And kind of went into that cinemascope of the time. But there's a controversy with his later movies, and we've talked about it before on the show, Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut in particular, where people don't know what he actually wanted them to be seen as. Some people say he protected the 185 frame and left it wide open for the TVs of the time. Other people say no, he liked that 4:3. He liked it more. The matting it for the theaters was the compromise, not for home. Who knows? All I know is I first watched The Shining in 4:3 on a big old frame, and I never want to see that cropped. And I don't care. I don't care if it's 4K. I don't want to see that shit cropped. That is why this set right here, the Kubrick set that I do have, is still the DVD set from like 2002 because those are the only full frame versions. Okay.
He's doodling.
I'm doodling.
Let's see. Pathos, what were you sick? I gotta say that's the best part of feeling kind of in the dumps. Is when you can like guilt-free sit back and
For sure.
enjoy the ride.
Glowcat, I'm glad we agree on this. The best ratio, true facts. And for anyone who watches this later or is watching it now who wants a bit of a crash course or is just interested, I'll make it real quick. Basically, okay, this little, these dotted lines here, consider that to be like a widescreen image. That's what's the widescreen that's going to fill up your TV. Those dotted lines, that rectangle, that's your widescreen. The little Xbox in the middle of it, that would be like what would be like a VHS tape. Say there was a widescreen movie made in the 90s and you saw it on VHS, you would get that cropped in version. So because we grew up watching the widescreen cropped in like this for VHS, a lot of people think of full frame as being smaller than widescreen. The irony here is that cameras actually shoot this whole square and that the cinematographers put lines over them to result in getting this 185. So if the director wants a widescreen frame, as pretty much everyone will, you're going to shoot with this full frame matte, but you're going to matte it down to get that widescreen image. And then if you were in the 90s era or 80s era, when that went to tape, you would get an even smaller version of it. So what the full 4.3 is not this little box, but this big one, the full range of what the camera picks up on. And so, ironically, while we were raised to consider it as a smaller image, and we saw widescreen as, ooh, the image is expanding, the irony is that if you expand even further, it turns back into a box. That is what Zack Snyder actually shot in, was that full 4.3, and I think the compositions you can do with a giant open 4.3 frame like that are just mind-bogglingly large, and feel bigger to me than widescreen.
We love to hear it.
We love to hear it. That's my thought. And I love a good...
Professor, can I leave class 5 minutes early?
Leave forever. And I personally love 235 as well, but the weird thing is when I was younger, I think I thought the wider the frame, the more epic the movie, you know? And I would always think 235 to 1, man, you're going to get black bars even on your widescreen TV. That's because the director had such a wide vision. And then I think later in life I was like, oh, I really respect the 4.3 framing of classic Hollywood, because widescreen didn't take over until the 50s. And so I love the full framing of 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s movies. And then in the 60s, to get butts in the seats, a lot of gimmicks happened, one of them being Cinerama, one of them being CinemaScope, VistaVision, a lot of different words to say, hey, we made the screen bigger. And that was wider. And then it's just so weird to think about how that, I was saying to you the other night that had the timing on the widescreen boom in the 50s and 60s matched up differently with television, the birth of television, then we would have had widescreen TVs.
Yeah.
If you would have pushed TV off from the 50s to the 70s, we probably would have ended up with widescreen TVs our whole lives.
Yeah, because I was telling you that if y'all were here last week, I was saying that I actually went to Target to buy a DVD player, and when you go to the settings for the aspect ratio, it says TV or television on it. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's just because television shows on those cameras were shot full frame because that was the standard in Hollywood at the time. It wasn't like TV was special. It was just the way everyone made everything.
Yeah.
You only used a really wide frame if you were telling a really special movie with a big budget that you wanted a lot of butts in the seats for. Just interesting how if that cathode ray had been invented a little bit later, we would have all had widescreen TVs our whole lives. Cathode ray tube. CRT TV, that's what it stands for.
No, yeah. It sounds like a villain. The name of a villain.
I'm Cathode Ray, and I'm here to improperly display your aspect ratios. No.
No. Okay, let's catch him on the chat here. See what's going down.
Alrighty. Okay, so anyway, I'm sorry. I went off on a full rant about 4-3. Point is, that was my first thought about Zack Snyder.
That's what Adam says to me every night before we fall asleep. He rolls over and goes, I'm sorry, I went off on a full rant about 4-3. And then I go, it's okay.
It's okay, good night. Okay, quiet time now. I think with the Zack Snyder Justice League, I will definitely have thoughts on it once I've seen the whole thing. I'm gonna say, however, I really love the format, the framing format. Obviously, I love the aspect ratio. 2, I'm really digging it so far. A few things happened in it that I thought were kind of like dumb, like writing moments. I feel like with Zack Snyder, though, I have to tell myself this is a visual storyteller above all else, and he doesn't have the same taste in scripts and writing that I do, and he's gonna have simpler ideas than a lot of his contemporaries. But he's also got such a visual style that if you let the image tell you the story, it might make up for some of what the text is lacking. So I gotta say, I'm really digging it.
That's a good point.
I'm excited.
It's a good point.
Not everyone expresses themselves the same way, filmically. Okay, cool. Glowcat watched Troll 86, Witchfinder General, The Best of the Best, Something Wicked This Way Comes, John Carpenter's anthology film Body Bags, and the documentary, the recent blockbuster. The recent documentary, The Last Blockbuster.
Which I'm curious. I'm interested in watching The Last Blockbuster. Let us know if it's a
or Well, okay. First of all, did you know, Stephanie, and you made a status about this the other day, Glowcat, but this is honestly the only thing I remembered from the first Troll movie. Did you know that the main character and his father's name in the first Troll movie from 1986 are Harry Potter? Like, the movie's like, hi, I'm Harry Potter. It's like this little kid. Did you know that?
No.
The main character, little kid from Trolls, Harry Potter.
Wow.
I haven't seen Troll in years.
Me neither.
Troll 2 is often... There was a documentary made about Troll 2. Best Worst Movie, I think it was called. Troll 2 is... I want to say... I'm going to be wrong. It's been a while since this was in the zeitgeist, but I believe made by a dentist who just wanted to make a movie and found the rights to it. And, like, it's a really bad movie with a very silly plot. Yeah. Troll 1, though... like solid mid-grade studio effort monster movie. I feel like pretty solid. The cover creeped me out as a kid quite a bit.
Me too.
Witchfinder General. That's a what is that? A Christopher Lee like Salem movie, like a kind of an witchploitation movie from the 70s. I want to say. Never seen that. Best of the Best. Never. You got to tell me what that is. Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Another little Harry Potter nod.
Yeah.
Or not, you know.
Something Wicked This Way Comes is Ray Bradbury.
I know, but do you remember that trailer? It was like such a big deal when that teaser trailer dropped for what Harry Potter movie was it? I forget. 3 maybe? With the choir. Something Wicked This Way Comes, and it was like coming this fall. Okay.
Don't remember that. I remember the third movie being awesome, though.
Just forget it.
John Carpenter's Body Bags. That's his anthology movie, which I've never seen. And it's a later Carpenter. It's a 90s Carpenter. Not a lot of love for 90s Carpenter. Not enough love for 90s Carpenter, I should say. Because I think he's... I love John Carpenter. We'll talk about this. So, Last Blockbuster. Also really curious about this, Glowcat, because I think I saw someone say this in Vagrants. But the thing with, like, documentary about Blockbuster is Blockbuster has come to symbolize the age of the video store. And I think this is very relevant for our show. Blockbuster has come to be, like, synonymous with video store. Look, like, you'll see it show up. I intentionally used the Blockbuster font and color design for our logo as a little, like, nod to that nostalgia. That said... That said, as someone who worked at video stores during the decline of the video store, Blockbuster was very villainous in many ways. They did not stock a lot of queer movies. They did not stock a lot of documentaries. They were kind of like the Walmart of video stores in the sense that they weirdly censored the content they would get. Some things were too extreme for them. And the indie video stores were where you could find everything. And as someone who worked at indie video stores, I saw Blockbuster as the bad guy after a certain point in my life. But before that point, I grew up with them, and I have photos of myself high-fiving a Ninja Turtle in a foam suit at Blockbuster in front of the Turtles shelf. And, like, it means a lot to me. So what is that movie? I'm curious, Gilcud, as to your thoughts on, like, I don't know, how Blockbuster has come to symbolize something and how it's kind of transcended the reality of its time to become symbolic of the video store age in general. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Does it matter? I think I'm at peace with it, but...
I think it's really interesting to think about, like, indie... Well, at the time, I mean, smaller, independently owned video stores, and thinking about where they started and where they landed. And what I mean by that is, I think I mentioned here before that in my very small town in Texas, there was an independent video store, which was Showstopper Video. I went there all the time. I could walk there from my house. And then 30, 40 minutes away from my house, a Blockbuster opened, and we would go out of our way to drive all the way out to that Blockbuster to get new releases because the selection at Showstopper, like, hardly ever changed, and their new release section would sell out like that. People would, like, know when they were going up on the shelf. They would only have, like, 3 copies of each movie, and then they'd just all be gone, and we'd be like, dang, we missed it. But then there's almost like this, what is this when it goes like this?
Undulating?
Maybe.
Well, reverse bell curve?
Yeah, we'll say reverse bell curve or undulating thing where then you cut to later in life where Blockbuster is going out of business or out of business, Hollywood Video is out of business, and it feels like the indie stores in small towns are all closed, and they moved to larger cities, and they're like hip places in larger cities where people flock to. I don't know. Does that make any sense at all?
I think, what are you saying, like, the value, like, I think what you're saying is, like, when you're part of a small town or, like, part of a more normcore lifestyle, like, you're going to flock to the convenience, but then when that's all dried up and gone, the indie video stores are going to be the ones who are capable of holding the torch, and then they become desirable places to go.
Yeah, and the large-scale indie places become more boutique and become more like places like in Austin and San Francisco and LA, you know, these giant warehouses, these like, you know, archival cathedrals to film,
which are very different from a Blockbuster. And there is something about the indie experience of the random promotional posters and stickers and action figures and toys and collectibles and knickknacks and paddywhacks that are just all over everything, you know? You think of I Love Video, or even where I worked, Entertainment, we would just, like, if we had a spare sticker of, like, Freddy Krueger, I'd be like, where can I put this in the shop? I'm gonna hide it in the bathroom somewhere. That's a way more, like, independent, like, the store as art. The store is an experience, the store is a museum, versus Blockbuster, the store is a store. And
I think that's what I'm getting at, is, like, Showstopper, for example, was very functional. They didn't have a lot of inventory. The inventory didn't really change very often, which is why I think as a kid I would rent the same movies over and over again because everything was the same every time you went there. But then when you go to a place like I Love or Vulcan, it is like a completely immersive experience. It's not. I mean, it's obviously it's functional, but.
It's not. Well, it's a different era.
Yeah.
Because it's got to have that museum element to it. Because it's got to be archival in a way. Because now you're attracting not just like everyone wants to watch movies.
Right.
Back in the day, like to your point, the new releases being all checked out. Like I remember that pain as a consumer, and I remember having to deliver that pain as a clerk. Yeah. And saying, like, I'm really sorry. I remember...
Can you check the return box?
I have checked the return box so many times. And sometimes you find it, and it's wonderful. It's like, I found it for you. I love that. But, like, there was a finite amount of it. and there was a new movie out, and if you missed that movie on its release window, then you lost your shot at seeing it for a few days.
Yeah.
Blockbuster had a business model that was guaranteed in stock. Mm-hmm. They did that. They would overstock with extra corporate money they had. Mm-hmm. Like Titanic, when Titanic came out, they had an ad that guaranteed it would never not be there.
Yeah, but not every movie was like that.
No, they just with the big ones.
Yeah.
But like with the idea of like there being a finite window, that's because everyone wanted to see movies. Now, everyone wants to see movies and they can stream them. So the people going to the video stores are not everyone. They're people looking for that weird thing or looking for that specific version of that thing. Yeah. Or people wanting to support or people just wanting to be there.
And I'm curious, I guess I'm curious of like what year specifically or what couple of years specifically that sort of switched over. 2006
through 2010, I would say. Mm-hmm. I would say it was really the second half of the aughts.
Yeah.
Because we had very busy video stores that I worked at in the early aughts. I confess, I went to Sex and the City, perfect example. I worked at a little hole-in-the-wall video store in high school. I only worked Sundays. I was the young kid who worked there. It was very much like High Fidelity. There was the cool, level-headed owner, the bulldog crazy guy, and the sensitive artist guy, and it was very much High Fidelity, and I felt very cool for getting to work there. But it was all like indie tapes. Foreign, indie, some new release, but it was the weird stuff. You went there to get the weird stuff. And I was watching Sex and the City with my high school girlfriend over the phone because she lived in she went to college. We did that cute LDR thing where you queue something up to watch at the same time. And because it wasn't streaming, I had to rent Sex and the City, and I went to Blockbuster to do that. It was busy, both places. It was like everything was busy. And then it was really Netflix on disc and Redbox that sealed the deal. It was Blockbuster encouraging people to only watch kind of the mainstream stuff, and then after that it was removing the availability little by little. And I'll tell you, when Blockbuster in our town went out of business, it went out of business before the video store I worked at did.
Yeah.
We did not see that many new customers from it. We thought we would, but they all went to Netflix, discs, or Redbox. They did not come to us. Yeah. And it's because they had not been trained to seek out the independent thing, because they were just consumers, not like museum goers.
Yeah. Well, when Hollywood Video went out of business, we had rented Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, and Bogus Journey, and we knew it was going out of business, and we had like $40 in late fees racked up, and we just were like, they're going out of business. My mom goes, "Is that technically stealing?"
The late fees.
So I think that at my folks' house, maybe it's gone now, but there was a Hollywood Video copy of both of those movies that are.
Oh, yeah.
We just kept.
I accidentally have a Vulcan DVD for that reason. Remember, we tried to return it, and then we went back.
Yeah.
In Austin a few years ago, we rented Night of the Demons from Vulcan.
That's right.
And we tried to go back and return it. It was late. It was like 2 weeks late, and we're like, "Oh no!"
Sorry.
And we went back. Sorry, and it wasn't. The Vulcan was gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Great Job Nerds.
Hello, Great Job Nerds.
Another tangent. Let's tie a bow on that and
sorry
talk about what we watched.
Sorry to our other 3 viewers who showed up and promptly left during the past 10 minutes. Okay. Oh, Glowcat. Okay. I'm sad to see this. Late. Glowcat said that they worked for a mom and pop that was killed by Blockbuster, incredibly biased against them, and we will see them popping up complaining about it a lot. They cover the rev share thing, which is why Blockbuster killed everyone else. Yeah, the revenue share. Also, Doug Benson and Ron Funches, so really entertaining. Well,
okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Because that has always been the thing of like, I feel the same way. I don't think Blockbuster killed my mom and pop store, but it didn't help.
Yeah,
it wounded us.
And like you were to your point earlier, it's weird how video store VHS is so tied in people's nostalgic brains with Blockbuster.
Yeah, but good luck. Good luck getting Sluts and Goddesses, a workshop on how to become a sex goddess in 101 steps from Blockbuster, yo.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
This is from, don't take me down, Twitch. This is from Hut Video. the hole-in-the-wall video store I worked at. This was like a joke rental, you know, like when you're in high school and you watch sex stuff with friends and giggle at it. Like, this was like a joke rental that I rented with my girlfriend to giggle at. And then seriously, it's not very sexual. It's like this movie is, I don't know, it's like if Tim and Eric directed if Tim and Eric made a Dr. Ruth tape.
Oh, count me in. Hey.
It's incredible. It's actually incredible. But it went from being something silly to now being like a jewel of my collection because I earnestly love Annie Sprinkle. She's a sex positive porn star from the 70s who's used her entire career to educate women on their bodies and safe sex.
On your album?
I sampled this on my album, yeah.
You're welcome. Plug. What?
Pluggy plug.
What single? Where can they find it?
Go to Protextor. I'll just drop that shit in the chat.
Yeah, dude. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, go check out my Bandcamp. It's on an album called Shift. There's a little naked baby fighting an army on the cover of it. And there is a track called Sex Interlude where my DJ sampled that tape as a thematic. The album has movements, and that's the sex movement on it. Okay. Set the record straight on the Netflix thing too.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
I'm curious about that. I'm very curious. Also, Beyond Video Baltimore. I was going to ask Vineet what the video store was, but then I just saw that he popped it up there.
Vineet's been I've seen some pictures from Beyond Video. It looks really cool. It almost looks like a co-op video store. Like, didn't you say that a few times you've seen something cool in there behind the case? Cool, and the owner's just been like, oh, that's my copy, you can borrow it. Isn't it pretty, it's pretty communal, right?
That's adorable.
That's very cool.
That's cool. I love that. I love that.
All sourced by people who support the store. That is fascinating. I love that. I would definitely be going there.
Yeah.
I honestly wish we could do something like that here.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So, did we miss Pathos? What Pathos watched?
We're going to scroll back up here.
We have been just going off the rails tonight.
We have. Okay. Pathos said that sitting through the Justice League felt like a chore, but it was definitely an improvement. I gotta say, admission, I never saw the other Justice League. So I don't know what the differences are. But I probably will afterwards. The dog is really needy right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
She's right here.
I wish y'all could see this video store dog.
Ew, video store dog with cat litter on her face.
Yeah, if you saw me
me
make a face a little bit ago, she was trying to stick her head in the cat box.
Okay, it says that Pathos is kind of half dead the whole time, just awful insomnia. Totally get that.
Same.
Totally same.
We both.
That's honestly, I fell asleep watching it because I overcompensated for my terrible insomnia with Grandpa Lettuce.
Oh, Grandpa's Lettuce.
And I just lost the thread. Pathos learned how to professionally disassemble CRTs in an electronics class. There's a step called Pop the Nipple.
Really?
That was fun.
Interesting.
That's rad. And Glowcat, yes, to circle back, I also would love to see it become more of a trend. I know that The Lighthouse also did 4.3, A24. So if A24 is putting out a movie in 4.3 and Zack Snyder's putting out a movie in 4.3, then, right, there's something bouncing on the edges. Mm-hmm. It's going to move to the middle.
In the middle, yeah.
Glowcat sides with Uncle Lloyd on this one. Just doesn't have very many nice things to say about Blockbuster. Again, tying a bow on that. Uncle Lloyd being Lloyd Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Feel the same way. Love Lloyd Kaufman. Shout outs to you, Lloyd. Loved Troll. Witchfinder General's Vincent Price. That's right.
Oh.
It was kind of boring, if I'm being honest. It tracks. Not for Vincent Price. Not for Vincent Price. But it tracks for the kind of witch-sploitation, I think sometimes historical drama horror movies with a major star in them, that tells you that there's not it's hard for those to be super entertaining because they put so much into their wardrobe and set design and booking their major star that sometimes the movie's just fluff. It's just there. It's a set from something else. It's costumes from something else. Best of the Best is an action movie with Eric Roberts. That's what it is. I knew I recognized that. Eric Roberts is the fucking man.
Now, maybe this is embarrassing, but I Who is Eric Roberts?
Eric Roberts is a character actor who is not that known, underknown.
Okay.
A character actor who you definitely recognize.
Yeah.
In a lot of 80s and 90s. Best of the Best, there's the one. That's what comes up first when you search Eric Roberts' name.
You
Yes.
kind of have a Eric Roberts thing going on with your floofy hair and your black rimmed glasses.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, maybe I can play him. He's been in a lot of like straight to video stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like one of those character actors that kind of gets like relegated to straight to video B movie stuff, but then pops up in like defining roles every once in a while.
That seems like the kind of. I would like that type of career.
Where you just do a bunch of indies of stuff for sci-fi that's not that good, and then every once in a while you get cast in a drama and people take you super seriously for like 8 months.
Yeah, or that you can just like be a day player and come in and like crush it, and people know you're going to do a great job, and then you like get the job done, and you're in and you're out. And
how was shooting Snakes on a Plane 4? The space shuttle.
It was great.
The space shuttle. The subtitle.
Space shuttle. It was great. What is going on the screen? I have to ask. So I can see there's like little graphics popping up on the Twitch right now, like Nickelodeon splats.
What? Where are you seeing that?
Like right there.
Oh, we're getting little clappy claps on our faces. Oh, little emotes here. Weird. Can I throw a tomato at myself?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, what is that?
We're going to scroll down. First of all, hold up. Mark Hamill was in Body Bags in one of his best roles. Okay, I want to see Body Bags. Carpenter is in it too. Well, Carpenter, yeah. Maybe not the best actor, but I would love to watch that. Oh, it's Julia Roberts' older brother. I had no idea. That's who it was.
Wait, that's Julia Roberts' older brother?
Amazing.
No wonder he had that exquisite jawline.
That also Carmine Falcone. That's who he is. That's right. When the hell did the Tomatoes extension get enabled on screen? Have I always been able to click the screen? This feels new. Although does everyone see it? That's my question, because no way can everyone see this, right?
I don't know.
How can everyone see it? Because what if we were like a game stream with like 20,000 people? What if we were a very successful game stream with like tens of thousands of people watching? What's to prevent them from clapping up the screen and making it so you can't see anything?
I don't know.
It's weird.
Well, hey, we're okay.
What is that even that I'm throwing? Is that a little? Oh, it's a little dart.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh boy.
Oh. It has a cooldown timer.
Okay, I got you. Oh, I see that. That is funny. Okay, well, welcome to more interactivity for you and your fans on Twitch. We at Twitch are thrilled to announce a new functionality for our Twitch where your fans can throw a poorly animated paper airplane at your face. You're gonna love it. Your viewers are gonna love it. Build your community on Twitch.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So okay.
We made it. We're caught up.
We're caught up. What did you watch this week? Great Job Nerds.
What did you? Yeah. Also in Glowcat, we hit the movies you watched? Pathos. I feel like Pathos dropped something in here. Watch the infamous Snyder Cut. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you, Pathos. No worries tonight. I don't think we're gonna get trolled by y'all, unless you want to. In which case, go for it. Great Job Nerds. What did you watch? And we can also hop into our What Did We Watch section here as well.
Yes.
Okay, so we've already covered how Dawn of Justice. Oh no, that was last week. I haven't finished the Snyder Cut yet.
Okay.
So it's not on my list. So, and I already talked last week about how I guess that's one that I did watch. Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. Oh. That's one that I watched to gear up for Justice League. I gotta say, I'm still not a fan of this movie. I liked it more in theater. I think I remember defending it in theater because I went with someone who very much hated it right away. And I think I originally had the tack of like, why do you hate it? You know, there's nothing to, like, it's not that bad. And I still do not hate this movie. I also do not love it. I think it has some really solid, interesting ideas that were very cool for the time, paired with some very dumb ideas. I gotta say, though, like, the Martha thing didn't bother me quite as much this time, but it's probably just exposure to it at this point. It is an objectively dumb script move. Overall, you want to know the Martha thing I'm referring to is?
Sure.
It was Batman versus Superman. Okay, so Batman, Bruce Wayne, in an incredible performance by Ben Affleck, I gotta tell you, like, I love Batfleck. He, do you remember in Man of Steel when Superman fights General Zod throughout the city and they blow up a shit ton of buildings while fighting?
Yeah.
Okay, so Batman v Superman opens with Bruce Wayne 9/11 style running into burning wreckages to try and save his employees. Mm-hmm. And like cursing Superman for killing hundreds of his employees.
Right.
And so Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, Batman, is very motivated to be able to kill Superman if need be. So he and Lex Luthor are simultaneously trying to get their hands on kryptonite. That's basically the plot, is that they want kryptonite. But then Batman actually shows down with Superman. It's an incredible fight, and Batman has Superman on the ropes and is about to maybe kill him. We don't know. All the characters in Zack Snyder's DC universe are very violent and murdery, so probably kill him. And Superman, who is only fighting Batman because Lex Luthor blackmailed him into doing so by kidnapping his mother and holding her hostage and saying, "I'll kill your mom if you don't." Says, I've got to save Martha, which is Superman's mom's name. Mm-hmm. And Batman goes, "Why did you say that name?" Because Batman's mom's name is also Martha. And so Batman decides that this alien threat that took down a Wayne Corps building and could potentially end the entire world might not actually be worth killing because their moms have the same name. That was like the plot detail heard around the world. Like, I'm surprised you've never heard of this.
No.
I'm sure.
I don't have a Twitter.
He now best friend because mommy same name, says Pathos. Yes.
I have a dog too. Oh my god.
And the opening of, it's very much that. The opening of the movie is awesome. I gotta say, I finished that movie this week. I still don't love it or hate it. The Martha part is objectively stupid. The movie has some missteps for sure. I still don't think Zack Snyder understands or likes Superman at all. I really still will always have a grudge on how Superman is this sort of Ayn Rand sort of, you're super, therefore you owe these people nothing, instead of like the Superman I know, which is Clark Kent from Smallville, who is a good person and not an asshole. But, whatever.
Farm boy.
What are you going to do? Okay. Watch that. So I'd say if I'm going to try and get back into the habit of doing the recommendation.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So Batman v Superman, if you haven't seen it, if you need something mindless and you're interested in getting a little more context to watch Justice League, I say go for it. If you still haven't seen it at this point, you probably haven't because it's just not your cup of tea. Because I would wager to guess that a movie with that high of a profile would have hit your radar earlier. As far as Batman goes, it's a very fun Batman movie. I think not Rotten Tomatoes, I think Honest Trailers put it thusly. It's a great Batman movie trapped in a bad Superman movie. And I would agree with that. Okay. Well, we only watched one other movie besides our movie club pick.
We did.
Yes. So that was Falling Down.
1993.
1993's Falling Down was the other movie we watched. And if you're just joining us, we are in the section of the night, which is what did you watch this week? We want to know what you watched.
Feel free to drop it in the chat. We didn't watch that much. We watched Falling Down.
Well, and also just to recap real quick, the reason we haven't watched much is because we're in a new apartment. We're trying to be quieter with our movies, and so while we wait for our cool new surround sound headphones to get here today or tomorrow, we have been watching Sex and the City at night because we can watch it with subtitles. We're watching our way through that. It's my first time watching through. I'm eating it up.
My fourth.
I'm gonna really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have thoughts next week like for sure on the series, and we'll end up watching the movie, I'm sure. I'm really loving it. Way more than I thought I ever would.
Well, that makes me very happy. Man, I'm curious if you're gonna want to watch Sex and the City 2, the movie, to be a completionist, because in my mind, it's so bad.
I'm gonna have to.
It's so sad because, like, seeing the first movie in theaters was so exciting. I went to the Draft House. I got a Cosmo in a special little martini glass.
You know, Sex and the City's coming back now, too.
I know.
In a mini.
I know.
So we're gonna have to watch 2 because I need to know the canon.
Okay.
Even, and this is something weird also, as I've gotten older, when I don't like that things are canonical, I kind of just ignore them. What am I thinking of here? There was something dumb the other day. It was like a canonical thing that I just didn't dig. Oh my god, we watched... Before we jump into Falling Down, we watched the premiere of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Did anybody watch this?
Yes.
Did anybody watch... yes, Pathos. It's essentially the plot, Pathos. Did anybody watch... It's Daughter, but yeah.
Pretty good distillation
you nailed
of
it.
what the movie is.
Did anybody watch Falcon and Winter Soldier premiere on Friday? Well, we did. I gotta say, it felt kind of like a little meh to me, but I'm excited to see where it goes because I love the characters so much.
I am as well, and I was saying, like, I wonder if it really is meh, or if coming off of WandaVision, which was so dynamic, like literally every episode felt stylistically, it was exciting. It was exciting to see, like, how are they gonna... God, that show was just so good. WandaVision was so great, and I think maybe this show is more of a return to form of, like, Marvel, you know, what we're used to seeing, or recently used to seeing in the Marvel universe. I'm curious if that's why it felt a little like, it
felt a little bit more like back to the, like, CG like the way WandaVision ended. Yeah. CG fights and snarky dialogue.
Yeah. But also I will say that some of the directing choices felt very weird to me.
Yeah, there were a lot of shots in this thing.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I noticed during the scene with the psychologist was the number of angles.
Extreme close-up.
There were probably 12 shots in that dialogue scene. And that's also Marvel cinematizing their TV, but...
but I was saying... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I remember I was saying the night we watched it that it felt a little more like Marvel... but if it were made for, like, I don't know, like ABC.
Yes, it did. It felt more like Disney doing their ABC rather than Disney doing their Marvel. I think you said it felt like NCIS superheroes.
Oh, yeah. I think I said CSI MCU or something.
CSI MCU, that's good. I will say, great job, nerds and Pathos. Really good points here that they are building the world a lot here. Yeah. And so, granted, the pilot has a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, and also not to say that it wasn't, like, exciting and fun. It just felt different and not quite what I was expecting.
I think it felt different in that it was same.
Same, yeah.
But, like,
return to
something that status quo. Something that I was surprised by was during the Falcon scene at the very beginning when he's flying through the mountains and, like, doing his Falcon thing. You were like, when, like, he almost ran into a helicopter or something. Dude. I remember you going,
okay.
You were very into it, and I was like waiting for the sequence to end and get back to dialogue because I'm a plot guy.
Can I tell you something that I think is really interesting? I thought about this after the fact. I had spent weeks watching mostly sitcoms on small TVs and really not watching any movies, again, other than on small TVs that were like, I don't know, like comedies. And it was the first thing I watched really that was, you know, large scale sort of epic moment on a 4K with, like, sound and sitting. It was weird because it kind of felt like a return to that movie magic. I sort of felt like almost like childlike.
That's very sweet.
I was like, that actually startled me.
You did. You seemed startled. You seemed like genuinely very invested in the action. Which I was like, the action's cool, but I felt like I just wasn't as invested as you were.
It just sort of made me feel like maybe we shouldn't be so cynical. Like, maybe we should have this moment of wonder of like, wow, this is an incredible feat. And this is very cool that I can watch this in my home on this large scale screen. And it made me feel a little excited about...
That's wonderful. Isn't that what that's what it should be?
Yeah, for sure. But then I felt, 20 minutes later into the episode, I felt like back in my analytical brain and back in my like judgmental brain a little bit.
I think it's interesting that you say analytical and judgmental, because I feel like those are two separate things, but often they do get intertwined.
Yeah.
Because often we'll use our analysis to fuel what our judgment is. We'll make a judgment, we'll say this is wrong with this, and I'm going to prove it with science. Mm-hmm. But what if those things what if the analytics was just, this is how it works, and the judgment is separate?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want you to like feel free to feel joy. That sounds very nice.
It was nice. It was a fleeting moment, but it made me feel like some almost like childlike wonder for a moment. I gotta say, I really dug it. I think very good is a good, great job, nerds. I think I'm with you on this. Very good would be my rating. Yeah.
I don't think I'd be like, it was amazing, it blew my mind. It was very good.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. The funny thing, what made me remember this, though, is because I was saying, like, I've gotten to the age at which when I don't like something in canon, I just pretend it's not the case. And I will say the whole idea that the Avengers were never paid by S.H.I.E.L.D., the U.S. government, or Tony Stark, and that Falcon had no money in the bank, I was like, I deliberately I'm choosing to ignore that. I'm like, so, okay, you needed a plot device in order to get him kind of on the ropes a little bit here. Mm-hmm. I'm ignoring this retcon because no way am I believing that all these people were unpaid interns this entire time.
It was very strange.
It was a weird writing choice.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of that? Do you have theories there? Do you think it tracks? Is there anything in the comics we're unaware of that alludes to this?
I was like, is this some kind of weird fan service? Because they also tied it into this like do-gooder mentality, kind of, I guess, speaking of returning to status quo or returning to form, this idea that superheroes do it solely for the good of the people,
right.
and the fact that they are driven through some sense of morality or service to do that thing.
Granted, I mean, that's kind of what The Boys explores too, is The Boys explores the inverse of that. Mm-hmm. What if they don't give a shit about people, but it's a really good gig. It pays you well, you're high profile. What if it's like being a movie star, not about like being a civil servant?
Right.
Pathos saying Tony Stark died, he cut all the checks, but they weren't getting paid before that? And also, like, even if they were getting paid before that, I suppose that begs the question of, like, were they paid for Sokovia? Like, when they fucked up?
I mean, I guess the Tony Stark thing makes it make a little more sense, but yeah, I don't know. Also, great job, nerds. Saying Weird the psychiatrist was framed the same way as Bucky. The camera work is meant to show his mental state, I thought, but why frame her in the same way? I like the idea that the camera work is showing his mental state. I think there's probably a lot to that. This scene, for me, felt over-directed. I think that it was one of those things where the director wanted this shot here, but then they thought, and I need the reverse of it. And so I think there was just a lot of reversing the shots that wasn't needed. But also, I feel like the way that reverse shot was framed was maybe supposed to be like evoking some sense of intimacy or something, but I felt for that scene in particular it would have been much more impactful if there had been a lot of empty space around both of them. But
but now we're just nitpicking one scene.
Yeah.
But same.
Yeah.
Great job kicking Chitauri ass. Here's a yacht. Pathos is joking about the Tony thing. I just wonder, does that mean, however, that Tony never paid them? Does Pepper continue payments? Who runs the Avengers? Mm-hmm. Where are the Avengers funded? Is not there some sort of budget for the Avengers compound that then has a part of that budget allocated to personnel? Does the Avengers compound not have custodial staff that are paid?
Inquiring minds want to know.
I want to know. Anyway, really solid first episode. Very fun. I'm excited to see where it's going.
Yeah,
I love these guys.
I'm gonna
Well,
have a little more water.
I love these characters, ultimately.
I love that I can walk right here and get a refill on my water.
Look at that. She's right there. And the dog settled down. God bless. Well, cool, y'all. What else did we watch? Falling Down. I'm going to go get a refill as well. And also use the restroom.
All right.
I'm going to pee. And then I'm going to sneak out during the movie to pee. Excuse me.
We watched Falling Down, 1993, Michael Douglas. You know what? I am going to grab my phone real fast because I wanted to look up a quote. Or maybe I have it pulled up over here. Let's see.
I think it's open on one of those tabs.
Yeah, okay, so... na, na, na. Okay, has anybody else seen Falling Down? I think Pathos had a nice summation. Michael Douglas, where he goes nuts trying to cross town to get to his son's birthday party or something like that. Yeah, this was a really interesting movie to watch, especially... Hey, baby. Especially right now. It's essentially a movie about white male rage and a sprint of violence brought on by feeling some sense of like uselessness and impotent anger. So sadly very relevant. Well, always very relevant, but it was interesting to watch this film and think about it because one of our rules is try to contextualize the media you're consuming based on the time it was made and the context within it was made. But it was interesting to kind of try and break down whether or not you were supposed to see Michael Douglas's character in a sympathetic way or in a judgmental way. And sorry about all the doggy pitter patter. Did think this quote from Roger Ebert was interesting. This was from the review in 1993. Because the character is white and many of his targets are not, the movie could be read as racist. I prefer to think of it as a reflection of the real feelings of a lot of people who, lacking the insight to see how political and economic philosophies have affected them, fall back on easy scapegoating. If you don't have a job and the Korean shop owner does, it's easy to see him as the villain. It takes a little more imagination to realize that you lost your job because of the greedy and unsound financial games of the go-go junk bond years.
Interesting. Definitely. Do you want to switch back?
Yeah. I was just talking about how we were trying to figure out if, and also contextualize the film for 93 and figure out if you're supposed to at all sympathize or if this is a full-on criticism.
Yeah, what do y'all think? Like, I will say that when I was like a 15-year-old kid, I definitely thought like, I will say I was uncomfortable with stuff like and I forgot this line where he like tells the Korean shop owner to learn his language because he's in his country. Like, that's fucked up. And I think that always rubbed me the wrong way. But I think that when I was a younger kid, I definitely watched this movie and thought like, oh, this is a guy who's finally getting revenge on all the assholes of the world. But I also think it's kind of boomer porn in a way because it is someone who like...
That's a good description.
Because it's like someone who will pull out a gun at a fast food place and be like, it's 11:33. You stop serving breakfast at 11:30. Give me my fucking breakfast. You have it right there.
But it's also weird because he is 100% a racist character, but he's not unbiased in the way that he is violent. Like he's the most, arguably the most violent and the most kind of like fucked up with a Nazi.
Yeah, well, there's the thing. Like, when you say he's undeniably a racist character, not to defend this character too much, but I think he's a very prejudiced character because of, like, what Roger Ebert was saying, a lack of understanding of how he's responsible. I think he embodies the mediocre white man who worked every day and then was told one day that he was no longer needed. Fuck you, hit the skids.
Oh,
and
he does say at one point, he says, I lost my job because I was overeducated and, what does he say?
Overeducated and underqualified, or was it the reverse?
Or was it the reverse?
And there is a moment of solidarity, I think very intentionally, I think Joel Schumacher here is making it to make you not see him as a racist, with a black character standing in front of a bank protesting, saying, I wasn't economically viable. They didn't give me a loan. I've been here for 7 years and no loan for me. I don't get a future because I'm not economically viable. Later in the movie, defends Michael Douglas's character, quotes that and says, I was in that same thing, in that same way he says, I don't remember, because I was no longer economically viable.
But isn't that him, like, taking that for himself?
Not at all. I think the movie very much wants us to see him and the protester as having a kindred moment.
But it's weird because the protester is saying, I have been with this bank for 7.5 years and they won't give me a loan because I'm black. And he's saying, I'm not economically viable because I am not up with the times. Like, I've always been able to get a job. I've always been able to get a loan. I've always been able to, like, make ends meet. But now I can't because the world is telling me out of nowhere that I can't. And that's why I'm so angry.
I mean, I definitely think they have different reasons, but I don't think in the mind of Michael Douglas. I don't think that Michael Douglas's character in this... sorry, I'm super distracted by the animals. I'm like, June, would you please go lay down, honey? I don't think that's him taking it or him. I think it's him maybe seeing a different meaning in it, but I think in both examples, it's the man, whatever you want to call that, the patriarchy, white supremacy, the system, the man. Yeah. It's the man squashing both of them and doing so for different reasons, but doing the same thing.
I guess you could see that as, you could say that is a turning point for him, like realizing, stepping outside of himself and realizing that, it is the man, or
I think he picks on everybody for whatever like individual thing defines them. He picks on them for. Mm-hmm. So like he picks on the Korean shop owner's accent. He picks on he makes fun of the gangbangers for their graffiti. Mm-hmm. But the Nazi summons a true hatred in him. Yeah. Because he does not want to be seen that. But I think that raises an interesting point, Stephanie, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is racist. Maybe I'm being too forgiving. Because at the end of the movie, when he's held up by Robert Duvall finally, Detective Prendergast, Robert Duvall is about to arrest him, and Michael Douglas says, I'm the bad guy. Mm-hmm. It's all part of that speech. He doesn't realize he's the bad guy. Yeah. And I think when the reason he kills that Nazi so brutally too is because the Nazi says, you and me are the same. He says, we're not the same. Yeah. And so I think it is that sort of like frustrated, the world has taken things from me, I'm beaten down. Don't say that I'm racist. Don't say that I'm mad that you have it and I don't. Don't say that's not what it is. It's about what's taken from me. And I think that feeling, like Ebert very elegantly put it, that feeling might be someone who's not imagining the larger context of their situation. Right. Which is why I think it's boomer porn. Because how many times have you heard like a white boomer be like, I'm not racist, it's 100%, just this. Yeah. Because they don't, and I don't think his character sees it. I think his character is completely blindsided by the fact that everyone else considers him to be villainous. Yeah, I think boomer porn is very accurate, and I think that's how a lot of older white boomers feel, especially men. They feel like, I'm the good guy. I'm like born and bred. I did what I was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I followed the track. And I think that this is exploring this is 1993, so this is exploring, like, what if all the economic... And it's right after the LA riots in LA, which is an interesting time for this story, for sure. But I think that Joel Schumacher is seeing kind of the economic fallout of the Reaganomics years, and he's like, what if that hit the guy who we know that's going to hit marginalized communities. What if it hit the guy who never in a million years thought it was coming for him? Yeah. And you made a point, I forget exactly what it was, but you were saying that Defense and Pendergast are both white men of roughly the same generation who, for very different reasons, are finding themselves to be obsolete or to be unwanted.
Yeah.
And Ebert makes that point too. I'm a big Ebert fan, so I love reading his contemporary reviews from things, especially in the 90s.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. No.
He's got a point in here. Well, I'm not going to find it. I don't want to scroll through the whole thing. But essentially, here. Okay, anyway. I'm not going to... It's too long of a quote. Back to the reacts. It's too long of a quote, but essentially the idea that that they both have been told they're not needed, and one responds healthily and one responds with madness. Mm-hmm. Robert Duvall has something that he can love, and the irony there is he's kind of in an abusive relationship with his wife, but she's abusing him emotionally, and his arc in this is really discovering what he needs.
Yeah, and also that he can define his worth.
Whoops! No barking on the stream.
Whoops!
Dog!
Whoops!
Sorry, Boo.
Yeah, I think he does figure out that he can define his own worth, or redefine his own worth, or find it again, despite the fact that the animals are both so
God,
out of control right now.
They love this time of day. Okay, stay.
Anyways, what's going on in the chat?
What's going on in the chat? Okay, cool. Maximum Doggo clip clops. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out because it sounds like that's distracting. What's really weird is watching the film with a group of people. When our video club watched it, 90% of us are super judgmental of his character and see it as a condemnation and see Duvall's the hero. 10% of us didn't actually work out as members of our video club. That's very funny. I think that maybe it's not either, though. Maybe it's not either thing. Maybe it's I do not think the movie is a...
I thought he was I think I walked away. I think right when we ended the movie, I said, well, he was an awful person.
Right, yeah.
That was like one of the first things that came out of my mouth. It was like, wow, he was an awful person.
And he was undeniably going to kill his wife and daughter. Like,
right.
That seemed very clear.
Yeah.
That cat is now trying to get behind the stove. But I think that, like, to Ebert's point, you can see this man as the villain and still see the sadness and the madness that are driving him as a villain.
Right, but is seeing it the same thing as sympathizing with it? Because
of course it is. I mean, maybe not.
Because there's no part of me that can, like, sympathize with the, you know... I mean, mental health is one thing, but, like,
I will say it's very hard in 2021, after living through 20 years post-Columbine of shootings happening all the time, including this week, because of angry, disaffected white men with guns who are mediocre and thought the world owed them more. And after living through that reality and seeing that, it is so ultimately, like, it is so quickly disgusting and palpably wrong that watching this movie now feels very, like, it feels very much like, fuck this guy, he could have done a lot worse things. And he was going to kill his wife and daughter at the end of this. Mm-hmm. Do I think that at the time anyone saw that world coming? Absolutely not. I was old enough for Columbine, and I know how shocking it was, and I know how much it rocked the world and was seen as this one-off extreme event instead of what would become our norm. So I think that with him in particular in 1993, I do believe that we are meant to feel the sympathy of the sadness of the world discarding you and feeling the anger at trying to get through a day.
I didn't, though.
Hold on, let me finish. Like, I know that's rich coming from me because I talk so much, but, like, I want to wrap a bow on this. Like, the frustration of all those things that happen to him throughout the day are, like, the little minor annoyances that happen to us in the world. And, like, I think there is some sort of a revenge fantasy here playing out that is like, what if you could yell back at all those annoyances?
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think the movie is encouraging it. I think it shows sympathy for the mental space it's coming from, but I do not think it's condoning the behavior. I think it's saying we all feel this way sometimes. here's an example of if your revenge fantasy played out, how dark it would actually be. Because here's the kind of person that actually would do that. And I think that's why a lot of the turns of like his mom being terrified of him, of his wife being terrified of him, come slow through the movie. If that all came at the beginning, we'd hate this guy from the jump. I think we were meant to sort of like him for at least parts of the movie. Or...
I didn't
Fair enough.
like him at all. I think we actually paused it 13 minutes in, and I said, I don't see him ever becoming like a sympathetic character.
Again, like the word sympathetic is so loaded because it is the wrong word. I shouldn't be using it because I feel like sympathetic character does imply that I like him a little bit, and again, like you're saying, not that way. And
you know, I think I prefaced this when you had stepped away that like it was an interesting movie to watch now in 2021, considering it was made in 1993, and one of our rules is trying to think about things in context. But even then, like, everyone experiences those irritations. Everyone experiences those moments of like, I wish I could say this, or I wish I could do this, or I feel angry or triggered or whatever. But I think, I don't know. I just there's not even when he's like, I'm not the same as you to the Nazi, and he is like so violent with the Nazi guy. There's no part of me that goes, okay, you know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I get what you're saying, and Glowcat makes a good point here that understanding what he did doesn't make it better. He's still a terrible person.
Yes, that's
I agree with that. I think that I simply think that the movie, and I'll read one more excerpt from Ebert, and this is from 1993. If this film had been made 10 or 20 years ago, it might have been an audience pleaser in which we cheered as the white hero shot up druggies or got vengeance on rapists, like Death Wish. Schumacher and his screenwriter, Ed Rose Smith, have not made a revenge movie, and the film isn't constructed to inspire cheers when Douglas pulls the trigger. Maybe it will play that way for some audiences, but more thoughtful viewers are likely to pick on Douglas's enemy, his soul sickness that has turned to madness, his bafflement at becoming obsolete and irrelevant. The last paragraph is, the way the movie ends is the way it must in real life, not the way it would in Death Wish 7, and the values and style of the Duvall character reflect not a triumphant cop, but simply a guy who still believes in trying to roll with the punches and making the best of things. Falling Down does a good job of representing a real feeling in our society today. It would be a shame if it is seen only on a superficial level. And I think that is all I'm saying, is that we now have the perspective of what this feeling can lead to. But I do think that even though he's a terrible person, he's a villain, no one else but a white man would be able to get away with what he's getting away with. I do think we're at least meant to see like that. I do think we're at least meant to see like this sort of like that feeling exists in everybody. I also want to say though that potentially there's an even smarter subversive plot line running beneath this with the fact that he's a defense contractor and that he built missiles. Sorry, I want to cut back to you.
No.
Been ranting.
No, you're fine. I think that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that yet. I was holding in a burp.
Oh, it's cute. You had a look on your face, and I was like, you were like holding in.
I was holding in a burp because I took a big gulp of water,
That's
and I was
very
like,
cute. No, and I'm not. It's weird. I don't want to talk about this movie in the sense that I want to talk. Feels like I'm not trying to get up here and say, you're supposed to like this guy. No, he's clearly the villain. I think that we're supposed to see that the wrong set of circumstances can turn people into the villain. However, I do think that maybe there's a superficial thing underneath this. Death Wish is a good parallel. Paul Kersey had a reason to do what he did, but that doesn't make him a less terrible person either. Totally agree. Have you seen Death Wish?
I'm not sure.
It's Paul Kersey, played by Charles Bronson. His wife and daughter are raped and murdered in his apartment, and he basically goes out with a gun and starts killing like any street people who think he thinks may have done it. Very, very violent, very 70s macho. Very similar to Dirty Harry, almost in the like that. Which is why I think Ebert's point about this being 20 years later and like it's a dissection of that character. What does it actually mean to be that way? It's a lot scarier to look at than Clint Eastwood saying, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" That makes it feel cool. It's not cool. But I do wonder if maybe there's a subtext with the fact that he's a defense contractor. This could go one of two ways. Maybe it's a comment on his obsoleteness after the war, or maybe, since we also get a lot of pretty heavy-handed American flag imagery in this movie, maybe this is a movie about America and how America sees itself as the best and sees itself as deserving and sees itself as a badass on a rampage who can fix any problem, but in reality is like fostering disunion and chaos and violence and anger. And when it's confronted with a Nazi and that Nazi says, "You're a lot like me," America says, "Fuck no, I'm not, I killed you."
Yeah.
And wants to kill it. And then ultimately, what does he dissolve at the end of the movie? But he destroys both him and Robert Duvall's character's chances at having a nuclear family, which is like the American standard, right? Isn't that the shiny, happy 2.5 kids American family? And he destroys it for both of them, kind of.
I think that's a great point. I would 100% agree with that analysis.
Because isn't that America of saying, like, I'm fighting for you so that you can have this thing, but if you follow that fighting instinct to its logical endpoint and never turn it off, it destroys the thing it promised you, which is peace.
Yeah, and I also think your point about America looking inward and seeing Nazism and saying, that's not us, that's not me.
That can't be me.
That can't be me.
Yeah.
I'm not the bad guy.
Literally stuffs him in a display case, which we don't get to see. We hear about.
Yeah.
But I'm your history.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm locking you in this glass display case as something that is a conquest.
Yeah, and that's the only time he takes an extra step to do something with the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
To, like, a pointed, actual kind of, like, you know, he took it to another level with that one. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. I agree with that.
I also think the movie weirdly tries to trick you into sympathy with one particular move, because he's so clearly an out of line asshole with the shop owner. But when the two guys tell him that he's in their territory and that he needs to move, they do, like, physically threaten him with a knife and try to rob him. And so when he fights back against that movie, that's the movie tricking you into being like, yeah, he got one over on these scary guys. But then later, when he gets the chance to have the true power over them, he shoots him in the leg for no reason and possibly kills him. And then you're like, oh, that's not cool anymore. Like, it's cool seeing the nerdy guy, like, fight and make his way out of a situation you thought he was going to get murdered in. And then when he has the power and he has the gun, you're like, oh, you're much worse than they are.
Yeah, he's really terrible. I do think it's interesting the way he was styled. I mean, they talk about it constantly, like short sleeve, white button down with a tie. I feel like that is so, speaking of boomers, like that was the uniform. The glasses, they're not horn rimmed, but his hair and his glasses and his whole, the entire way he looks kind of speaks to an late 50s, early 60s working man.
Military man,
too. And yeah, like, you wear the same thing every day. You do the same thing every day. You show up, you clock in, you know, you press your short sleeve shirt.
Could this also be could this also have a commentary within it on PTSD? We do get the vet in the park, the homeless. This is a passage that I also found weirdly distasteful on the part of the screenwriter, is the homeless guy continually lying for something. And the screenplay is almost telling you, like, see, they're never telling the truth.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, after living in LA for, 5 minutes, I will say, like, believing that someone baked in some hatred of the homeless into their screenplay does not surprise me. Because classism is super real. This may be a very blue state as compared to our very red state that we just moved from, but you wouldn't be able to tell it by the way people treat people with less money. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's extreme poverty next to extreme wealth in a way that I haven't seen.
Vatican and Rome.
Yeah. Anyways, we've been talking about falling down for a minute.
We have been. Well, great job, nerds. You know, I love Michael Douglas. I think that is kind of his thing. Although I think he's also a very good villain. Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, kind of pure villainy. But I think maybe also the Douglases as a family are likable, and that's sometimes, I think, why he's a good villain. Disclosure, I have not seen. That's a big one I need to see. The Game is another one, though, in which he's a piece of shit at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And that movie, we had a great talk about how
we did. You can
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, find that in the archives.
Find that in the archives. I also cannot wait to get back to. Oh, by the way, you can find our archives at youtube.com/babylion, I believe.
That was a really fun talk. I did a breakdown of how the game is modern day Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was brilliant. You can find our archives there, and we would love your subscription as well. We're gonna. We've been through a lot the past few months, and honestly, doing this show has been about all we can handle in terms of production. But we are going to start making some new ASMR videos, some new rappers playing games videos. So take a look at our YouTube page.
Yeah, I'm excited. And speaking of the ASMR, so right now we're specifically doing ASMR Criterion Collection. So if you have any box sets or any Criterion directors or anything that you'd like to see in an ASMR video, please, send us a message on our Instagram or drop a comment or whatever.
Maybe we can even we'll throw it up on our Insta. It's weird. We have to blend our two because I realized that our Baby Lion Instagram is super inactive.
Yeah.
Why haven't we been using it to post about this show?
I don't know.
Because we're dumb. We'll get on it. Well, cool, y'all. That was a good conversation. Well, that was a good conversation about the game. But good conversation about falling down, too.
Yeah.
Just going to tie a bow. I am not endorsing the character in Falling Down. I simply think that Joel Schumacher might be a little bit. Not me, but the director. Also, rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. Okay. Are we ready to get to new arrivals?
We are.
Cool. Okay, y'all.
I just told the best joke.
She told an amazing joke and then laughed at it a lot. You were the one laughing. You're cute. That's unprofessional. Okay, so, y'all, new arrivals. The fun thing... My wife... There you go. That's from Pathos. Oh, boy. And the animals are finally relaxed.
I know.
Here we go. Okay, got some fun new arrivals today, y'all.
Yeah.
However, a few just came during our stream,
yeah.
Literally, when I got up.
Fun. Let's see what this is.
Right? This is a new release. I knew this was coming.
Oh, I forget that you track everything.
But it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see if it comes with its slip cover or not. It did. It came with a slip cover. I'm really excited about that. So this is the brand new release from Shout Factory.
Oh.
Shout Factory just put this out. They announced it about 6 months ago. I wanted to watch this for Halloween, and I said, no, I'm waiting for this remaster Blu-ray from Shout Factory because I want to watch it so bad. And now it's here.
Oh, yeah.
The Event
Ooh, that's
Horizon.
pretty.
Yes, it is pretty.
Is that lenticular?
It's not lenticular, but I appreciate the word. Event Horizon is one of my favorite movies. It is so silly, and it is so violent and so fun. I don't know when the last time you watched this was.
It's been a minute. But
Paul W.S. Anderson, or just Paul Anderson, very, very excited to rewatch this. So the Shout Factory edition of Event Horizon in a slipcover, which is going to go right here someday. That's very exciting.
As we continue to unbox Pathos, please let us know what you learned.
If you've never seen Shin Godzilla, you can watch the entire movie for free on archive.org. That's incredible. I didn't know that.
That's great.
Thanks for spreading the word.
What?
That is wonderful to know. I love Shin Godzilla. Maybe... That's what my staff pick will be this week. Maybe it'll be Shin Godzilla. Let's see here, Vineet. Does this edition have the extra scenes? Special features. New 4K scan from the original camera negative. Oh, it's a new 4K restoration. It's going to look so good on our TV. Excited. Audio commentary, the making of, the point of no return, secrets, deleted and extended scenes, the unseen, video trailer, theatrical trailer. So it does say deleted and extended scenes. I don't know if that is the extra scenes you are talking about or not. I don't know if there exists like an extended cut of this movie, but cannot wait to rewatch this. Oh no, it got taken down? Yeah, well, you're talking. Y'all are talking Great Job Nerds language. Great Job Nerds. We watched Shin Godzilla with Great Job Nerds back in Austin, and he was obsessed with it, and I quickly became obsessed with it as well.
It's great.
There's a disc of it around here somewhere. I brought it with.
Somewhere
out. Can I show y'all something silly that I did with Godzilla, by the way? Oops. This Godzilla box set right here is, who put this out? From Genius and Toho. Put this out in, there's no copyright on the actual box set. I got this in college. I want to say it's like 2006. I've always loved this set. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's big. It says Gojira on side in kanji. I love it. And inside, it only came with the 6 of the original Godzilla movies. I'm going to curse myself for doing this because they all have these little paper wraps at the bottom of them, which means I have to individually put them all back in. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they were all just the individual, it was a sampling of movies from the first run. Invasion of Astro Monster. Anyway, I don't need to give you the whole breakdown. But it was just a sampling of Godzilla movies, including the first time Gojira was released in the States in its Japanese form on DVD. So I also had the Criterion set, the Godzilla Criterion set of the giant format spine number 1000. But I'll tell you what kept happening to me is I would go to that Godzilla set from Criterion, and the glue that was holding the discs in was getting a little weak below the discs, and the top discs were falling through that glue, getting glue gunk all over the playable side of the disc, and then sliding into the background below the ones on the bottom. I was oh dang, okay. Hell yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Great job, nerds. So essentially, the Criterion packaging kept messing up the discs, and I wasn't digging it. So what I did before we moved is I went through and I put the Criterion discs inside of this. I know that's a bit uncouth of me, but that's what I ended up doing, was putting all the Criterion Blu-rays in this and putting all the DVDs that came with this into the Criterion set. And would you believe it, somehow miraculously, it was the exact same number of discs between both sets. And so this perfectly has the entire Godzilla original Showa era series on it, but in packaging that I honestly like a lot more than the Criterion packaging. I know that's weird, but that's what I did. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well.
Well. Uh-oh, one of these lost its little guy.
Oh, brother.
There you go. It's a secret present for you. No, I need him. You'll damage it. You'll break it forever. What do people think if they're just scrolling through Twitch and they don't know what this is?
I don't know.
They'd probably go, unsubscribe. Okay. Anyway, back to the new arrivals. If anyone else got, I know Glowcat, I know you got some really cool stuff this week as well for the new arrivals. I know that you got some Grail stuff, so if you want to share that, Glowcat, go for it. I will continue to walk through some of the discs I got. You know we love Jackie Chan. We're a Jackie Chan household. Very excited about this Blu-ray restoration of The Young Master, Jackie Chan's second movie that he directed from, when is it, 1980 something. Oh, 1952, it says right there. When is this movie from? Jeez, give me a copyright. Anyway, pretty cool. Got the nice hardback case. This is a British company, as is Arrow, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're sourcing out of the same company. And then the disc itself, a booklet. We got to have the booklet. It's the only way we're aware of books. And then this very cool Young Master poster.
Yeah.
That I think after we watch the movie, if we love it, we'll hang. I don't want to commit to hanging it before I've seen the movie, but
we did get some posters hung though.
Love Jackie Chan. We did hang some posters.
I think we showed them off on the stream last week. The TerraVision and the Popcorn poster we got hung up.
Yeah, they're up. They're right behind us. We might be able to, like, I'm always nervous about moving the camera because we have to fuss it so much to get it right. But maybe we can. Okay, sweet. So Glowcat got a VHS screener for the first Darkman movie, which they didn't. You didn't know that it existed outside of that image before. In any case, screener tapes were things that were sent to video stores to be like, buy a bunch of copies of this.
Right.
So Glowcat has a Darkman shrine and Darkman collection, and they found a screener tape for Darkman, which is like incredibly rare, like something you can't generally find like on the internet that you're only going to stumble across in the wild.
Congrats!
I mean, yeah, for sure.
That's really cool.
And with Darkman 3, Laserdisc coming in the mail, also got the first Darkman film on Laserdisc to match the Darkman 2. Also a hat and a pair of shoes from the Etnies Rad crossover promo, and an uncut Laserdisc of Nightmare 5.
Wow!
And the French Darkman promotional pen. That's a lot of good stuff.
What a haul!
A lot of good Darkman-related haulage right there. And you know that in this house, we believe in science, and we believe in watching what are those, like, liberal...
Love wins. Science is real.
Love wins. Science is real. And the Nightmare on Elm Street 5 Uncut Edition is the one you should watch. Mm-hmm. That's what we believe.
We do believe. We do believe.
We do believe.
We do believe.
We do believe. Jubilee. I wish I could find its stuff back there somewhere. Also, Glowcat, thank you for introducing me to this. This is one that we are waiting to watch until we have our new headphones set up. But very, very excited. And it came on the same day as another one I ordered, the Day of the Dead, which I honestly just got because I love Day of the Dead. I'd been putting it off. It was $9.99 on Shout Factory's website, so I grabbed it along with Night Riders.
I think we might go down
A Romero?
A Romero.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to. I think the only thing missing is that I might, like a total chump, buy the Night of the Living Dead Blu-ray from Criterion, which is I call myself a chump because I bought that movie like 4 times now. But I'll probably get it on Blu-ray just to finish the trilogy on Blu-ray. Fine. The Amusement Park is coming out soon. Is that from Shout Factory too? It's exciting. Time to write that down.
Very excited about Night Riders. Yes, Glowcat, thank you.
I'm so stoked on it. We almost put it on last night because, like we said, we were being lazy and we had a lot of time. And then we're like, we're going to want to rock this loud.
Yep. I also, cannot wait to watch Demons with the headphones.
Oh my god, it's going to be great. It's Romero's lost film. Oh my god, that's fun. Okay, great.
Love it.
Great. Love me some George. Speaking of Romero, who was a friend and collaborator with Argento, who produced this, The Sect. This is one I didn't know existed until very recently. I'm going through and trying to finish getting all my Michele Soavi movies on Blu-ray because he's one of my favorite film directors. Movie Stage Fright, talked about on here before, as well as The Church. Cemetery Man, which is a huge, big favorite of mine in high school. And The Sect I'd never heard of. I thought that it was those 3 that were his horror movies. And so I got this, little bummed, the seller on eBay case swapped it, and I got the blue case. These are supposed to be in a yellow case from this company, but I went to their website and bought a yellow case for $1.50 in pounds. So it's about $3. I don't feel bad about it. Argento considers The Church to be Demons 3.
Oh!
Amazing. So, what we can do is watch Demons 1, 2, then The Church, and then Cemetery Man, The Sect, and then we'll Stage Fright if you want to again. Like, we can go into Soavi. Maybe we can do something real cool with Italian horror in the coming weeks.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. Let's look at these headphones.
Oh, yeah! Another thing, a new arrival during the stream.
Yes. However, you have to order these headphones if you want them in a pair. You order the one pair that comes with a dock, and the dock connects to the TV, and then that broadcasts to the headphones. And then you have to buy a second pair of headphones what arrived today was not the dock, but the second pair of headphones. So they're not going to be usable until their partner comes tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's okay because tonight we're finishing Sex and the City.
That's friggin' right, Stephanie. Let's take a look at these. Make sure we got the right ones. Sennheiser HDR 175, high dynamic, 175. I'm very excited for these. These are surround sound. Look, they go. Look at this little man. He's enjoying them so much. Look at him. I love my headphones.
I don't know what.
My wife. My headphones.
Stupid.
Oh, that's
boy.
awesome. And I did know that Adam Wingard, he did Godzilla vs. Kong, and he also did
Wait,
You're
hold
Next.
Up. They're making a face-off reboot?
Mm-hmm. It's the guy who directed You're Next and Godzilla vs. Kong. I hope it's good. I don't, we'll see. We'll see how Godzilla vs. Kong is first, I suppose.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Coming up next, I love me some Paul Lenny. I haven't seen this one by Paul Lenny. Paul Lenny is a silent film director. This movie is from 1922. It is 29, I'm sorry. This is it's his last movie. I had it mixed up. This is his last movie after he came to the States and made things like Waxworks, or Der Waxfigurenkabinett, as it's called in German. I'm a huge fan of Paul Lenny. This is when Carl Laemmle was producing him at, I believe, where were you producing him at? Universal. This is a 4K restoration from Universal that was licensed in the UK by Eureka, and I ordered it from Eureka's website. Hot tip for anyone out there who does like to buy region-free stuff or Region B stuff from the UK, because they oftentimes do have really good selections. Hot tip here is Eureka Video. They put out a lot of great stuff. They have a series called Masters of Cinema, which is basically the British Criterion. They do not charge shipping, and they charge very low for their discs. So it is in pounds, so don't get too excited, because the conversion rate means you're going to pay more than it looks like. But you can pretty much just order stuff from their website, and they will ship it even if you just get one disc international for free. Way cheaper than finding their stuff on eBay, where people bake the shipping costs in. So just a heads up, if you're into that.
That one's for you.
That one's for you, gentle viewers. Speaking of Eureka, finally got this big old bad boy. Now this is DVD, not Blu-ray. It's a little disappointing, but I'm going to watch all of it. I'm going to watch all 600 minutes or 500 minutes of this. This is Fritz Lang's Mabuse trilogy. Really, truly one of the most fascinating things to ever happen in movies, because the first Dr. Mabuse, the Gambler, Dr. Mabuse the Gambler, 1922, 4-hour silent film about Dr. Mabuse, who really symbolizes, like, this is Fritz Lang doing his spy game. Dr. Mabuse is the ultimate string puller, and the ultimate madman, the ultimate villain. Then in 1935, Fritz Lang uses Mabuse to criticize Hitler with the Testament of Dr. Mabuse in a sound film where he uses quotes from Hitler's speeches as part of Mabuse's dialogue to signify the insanity of what was happening in his country at the time. And then finally, long after Fritz Lang had come to the U.S., in 1960, he makes the third in the trilogy, The 100 Fingers of Dr. Mabuse. Or The 1,000 Fingers, I'm sorry. So I'm very excited to actually watch through this trilogy. It's, like I said, 500 minutes long, which is about 8.5 hours. Stephanie, will you do me the honor of watching the Dr. Mabuse trilogy with me?
I'll think about it.
Okay.
No, I think that does sound really fascinating. I mean, look at that.
It's also Fritz Lang.
Yeah.
Like, you think when you think like, 4-hour silent film, and this is why with stuff like Justice League, I'm like, 4 hours full of CG and fighting and Ben Affleck and Batman, like, that's gonna fly by, dude. I watch TV for longer than that every other day. But like, if you've ever watched like Intolerance, that's a 4-hour movie. It's pretty fucking great the whole time. But Fritz Lang, dude, like, Fritz Lang will entertain you. This is the guy who made Metropolis.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's a genius. It's not just, people in too much pancake makeup being like, That's my bad silent film impression.
Okay.
And then finally, y'all, this is the one I paid too much for. Death of a Bureaucrat on VHS. Now, this is Tomas Gutierrez Alea, who directed a movie called Memories of Underdevelopment, which is a really, really great movie about the Cuban Revolution. And he is really like the director who was at the forefront of the Cuban New Wave. So this is, unlike Memories of Underdevelopment, which is a semi-autobiographical drama, this is a straight-up farce comedy. And I have seen it compare. The back here compares it to Buñuel and to Billy Wilder. I've also seen it compared later to Terry Gilliam, and kind of just like the insanity of red tape. So this is actually an 80-minute comedy of errors about bureaucratic nonsense and getting caught in it. So pretty excited to watch this one. The reason I say I paid too much is because I've had this on my watch list on Amazon from an independent seller for 2 years. It's always been $60 or $70. I search it on eBay. It's a saved search. I've never seen it on eBay. One of the sellers dropped their price point from $60 to $52, and I bought it from them. And here it is. And I'm excited that it's here. The reason I spent so much in this movie is not just because I'm excited to watch it, or because I collect the New Yorker videos. I've got to remember that's in the way now. The New Yorker videos. But because this is not on DVD, it's not on Blu-ray, it's not on any streaming service, it's nowhere. This is the only, as far as I know, as far as I've been able to tell, someone pop my bubble on this if you want, but as far as I can tell, the only way to watch this movie is by renting or owning this tape. So,
Archive, baby.
Archive, baby. That's kind of what we do here. Death of a Bureaucrat. Tomas Gutierrez Alea. Very, very excited to watch that. And that takes us to the end of our new arrivals.
Oh.
I'm going to grab another beer. Do you want to do a quick Stephanie's TV corner? On the spot.
Jeez Louise.
I was just thinking maybe you'd want to talk about... it's going to take me... It was kind of a joke. It's going to take me 10 seconds to grab a beer.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Now, I want to do like Homer Simpson in that Treehouse of Horror where I can just reach through a portal and grab another beer. Here, let's see if I can try it. There we go. Right from the kitchen. It's empty.
Aww.
That's because I was just doing a bit and this is my same empty can.
Well, speaking of TV though, we were thinking about, if anyone wants to drop in the chat, what are the shows that you have returned to over and over and over again and kind of give you something new every time you watch it? I was asking that because this is my fourth rewatch of Sex and the City, and I'm finding myself more emotional, crying more often. I think it's the characters are closer in age to my actual age this time. I typically, would do heavier rewatches. Well, the first time I watched it was, maybe I was 22, and then a couple of full-blown start-to-finish rewatches in my 20s. I think this is my first start to finish in my 30s.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. And it's got me a lot more emotional. It's also got me realizing I used to always sympathize or, I guess, see myself in Carrie. And I'm seeing myself so much in Miranda.
Yeah,
and I'm just owning it. I'm like, I'm Miranda.
I think you were also quite Carrie.
I think I am too. I think I always, I think part of the reason that show was so successful is because it does such a good job of kind of painting this picture of this fabulous single woman in this really cool apartment in New York, like being an artist and finding herself, and I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let it fuel you.
Yeah.
It's a good time to rewatch.
Yeah.
You also made me realize that one of the really fun things we said we were going to keep doing before we took our hiatus for the move was to do the whole asking questions like what's your favorite of this specific genre.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you reminded us all of this prompt. So what am I? Oh, I thought that was I thought that was like a weird like I'd done something wrong without realizing it, and Great Jobbers were like, what are you, Adam? A monster?
I like this. We got a Star Trek The Next Generation. That's
yes.
fun. Twin Peaks. And I'm having a hard time reading.
And the animated series Mission Hill.
Animated series Mission Hill. Interesting.
I don't know what Mission Hill is.
I don't think I do either. TNG was
Too much content. Oh, I remember
I watched
that.
with my family. I remember sitting on the living room floor watching that show in real time. Just a side note.
Oh no, I just was like, are we being too quiet now?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Star Trek TNG, I feel like that's that's something I really would love to go watch, because I'll tell you, I haven't seen any of the show, really. I haven't seen any of the show. I didn't really grow up with it. I've seen all the movies.
We watched it every week together as a family. It was like one of the only things we consistently did together, and we would all talk along with the opening sequence together.
That's fun. That's really cute. And then Glowcat Twin Peaks. Now, I don't know if all my internet stuff is blending together, but I feel like I recently saw someone say about Twin Peaks, and maybe it was you, that I think it was a tweet though, that Twin Peaks was the only show to successfully tell a murder mystery that was more about the victim than the killer, and then the next 20 years of murder mystery storytelling just biffed that narrative entirely. But I will say, I know we talked about it last week on the show, how both of us want to get back into Twin Peaks. Mm-hmm. 6 feet Twin Peaks, let me write that down. Both of us want to get back into Twin Peaks because you'd only seen the first season, and I had seen the first and half a second season, but someone spoiled who the killer was for me, and I kind of fell off after that.
Yeah, I've seen the first season and the first 2 episodes of season 2, and I think I did mention this last week, but miraculously have somehow avoided any and all spoilers.
So we got to get you there.
Oh.
I would love to watch Twin Peaks. Thank you for kind of retabling that for us. And then Great Job Nerds, I'm going to tell you, what am I? I think I'm a Carrie.
I think you are a Carrie.
I think I'm a Carrie, pretty hardcore a Carrie. If you substituted buying shoes with, movies or posters or video games, and you just substitute the interests, and you substitute her writing a column for, doing this show or writing raps, and you substitute I don't know, I feel like I'm Carrie.
I think you're a lot of Carrie. I think you have a dash of Samantha.
I do have a dash of Samantha. Especially in the bedroom, honey.
Oh, yes.
I think I'm more Samantha than I think I am.
Yeah.
I also will say that in high school I was very intimidated by Samantha. I think that I definitely had some young male slut-shamey stuff going on where I was oh, she just sleeps with everyone, gross. And now as a 35-year-old man watching it, I love Samantha.
She's great, and she has maybe the largest growth. I mean, her and Charlotte grow the most, arguably, throughout.
Charlotte also really came around for me. Mm-hmm. I always liked Miranda, but she always seemed very functional. To be honest, I love Miranda, but she's very much a friend. In my book.
How so?
No, I mean for me, Miranda, I never really see her, and maybe it's just because Sex and the City's I saw a tweet the other day that was a picture of Miranda, and someone was tweeting they really tried to convince us for 10 years that this woman was a straight woman.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe I just see her as the homie. I don't see myself as Steve, whereas I did want to be Aiden when I saw Carrie.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is these characters are single women, and this show is about dating. So not only do I identify with them, but I think about what it would be like to date them. And Miranda, I only really think about she'd be a good friend, but I don't really want to date her.
I get that. I do think Cynthia Nixon is criminally underrated as far as acting.
She's incredible.
She's so good, both comedically and when she's doing drama and sort of vulnerability. Her facial acting is so good. We just watched the scene where, I don't want to say any spoilers, but she's on a trip and she's getting her hair brushed in a tub, and her facial acting in that scene is adorable, but also she's annoyed, and there's so much nuance in her performances, and she just has such a range. And I think the fact that really that is the thing she's known for is that character. I think that she gets kind of forgotten in the pool of amazing actors of our time.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree that a lot of people on this show feel like they're kind of bit players who didn't do a whole lot else.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat.
All right, I'm curious.
Kat's being naughty.
Curious what else is going on.
Great Job Nerds said the Futurama, The Simpson, Futurama, and Clone Wars, all animated. Very interesting. Pathos remembers Mission Hill. I also remember Mission Hill, but agree it was gone very fast. A fan added a Fire Walk with Me that adds all the content back in. That is fun.
Oh.
And then they were just talking about Twin Peaks season 3 being the pretty recent one that was like all out, and can be kind of hard to watch, but I love it. I'm totally down for that. The only thing David Lynch has really ever done that I didn't like was his monkey crime short. I thought I hated that.
Never seen it.
It was on Netflix like last year.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the only thing he's ever done that I didn't like.
Weird.
Okay, I would be very interested in seeing that fan edit. Also, reminding us of David Lynch, we have to watch these 2 movies at some point in the near future.
Oh, yeah. Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive.
Gotta watch our fancy new Blue Velvies and our fancy new Mulhollies.
Yeah.
That we got during the last Criterion sale. Sorry, just reaching over you here. Just reaching over you there. Huge, big David Lynch fan. And weird that I haven't seen Twin Peaks. That's it for a new ride. Do you want to move on to... Wait. Before we do, what's yours that every time you watch a show that you can go back to and you always get something new from it every time you watch through?
Well, I think as I was saying, like with this 4th start to finish rewatch of Sex and the City, I'm really like surprised at how many things are making me feel deeply emotional that didn't, and vice versa. Like, you know, the breakups and things used to make me feel like, oh, like so gutted, but now it's the very human things, being in your 30s and like
You're growing up.
hey guys,
You grew up.
My birthday is right around the corner.
Who is that? Are they still with us? The person whose birthday was coming up? I want to know if they're still here. I don't know. They're not here anymore. When we first started the stream tonight, one of the first things we got was, "Hi, it's 40 days until my birthday."
40 days until my birthday. I don't know how many days it is until my birthday. Maybe 20.
How many days are in this month? 31. So we got 8 plus 10, 18.
18 days until
You say, do you guess 20?
Yeah.
That was a good guess.
Thank you. I'm going to be...
You're going to be not yet even the age of Carrie on Sex and the City, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, what season?
The good seasons. No, it's been a very fun journey. Okay, well, Sex and the City, for me, I'm going to say Buffy. I know that we're hearing a lot of shit about Joss Whedon. We talked about it last week. Well, I don't want to have to talk about how shitty Joss Whedon is every time I talk about how much I love Buffy. There's going to be a long life.
Yeah.
I love this show. I love Buffy. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's the most... I think it's the best TV show ever made. I love it. I adore it. I think there's a reason that it's been so critically and academically broken apart. The reason why it has such an enduring, lasting fan base. And that's because it is intellectual, emotional at once. It's pathos. It's ethos. It's everything.
I agree. Also one of my favorite shows, 100%. And Great Job Nerds, The Simpsons. I believe The Simpsons and Buffy and maybe Twin Peaks are the 3 most critically analyzed television shows in film school.
Mm-hmm.
Film schools.
At one point they were. I wonder if what that looks like now.
Yeah.
I wonder if The Wire got thrown in there, probably.
That's something interesting. I'd like to look into that.
Me too. And Buffy, I think I'm down for a rewatch of soon. I think I'm more down for a rewatch of Angel because I've seen it less. Buffy, I've probably seen 5 or 6 times, probably more.
I think 5 is.
Yeah, I think Angel I've only seen through once in its entirety, and then snippets. But Simpsons is another one. Like Simpsons will always be something I can go back to. Community has been a reward. I just finished rewatching that. It's always rewarding to finish. I always cry like a baby when Jeff hugs Ovid twice in the finale. And then the one that I can't say that this is a show that I keep getting things from the more I will say Mr. Show. Mr. Show is something that I go back to. But I will say one that I don't know if I'll get more from it the second time, but I hope I do because I got so much from it the first time, is 6 Feet Under. And that's what's up on the queue for after we finish Sex in the City. So Steph's never seen 6 Feet Under. I've seen it through once, but it's incredibly important to me because it just made such an impact on me. And I think it's just a humanist work that everyone should watch. It's one of my favorite shows. So, okay, let's quickly, you and me, top 3 shows of all time. Not shows you can return to, but top 3 shows, and then we'll jump into movie club.
Wow, no pressure. Top 3 shows of all time. Okay, I think we did kind of get into a mini debate about this.
We talked about it a few nights ago. That's why I need maybe be ready for it.
Okay. Well, I think I might need to stew on that because are we talking about what the greatest shows or the shows that we return to?
Okay, so I'll tell you my 3, and not even return to. Your favorites. For me, my favorite shows are going to be Buffy, The Simpsons, and probably Ninja Turtles animated series. Do I think Ninja Turtles animated series is one of the best shows of all time? Absolutely not. Do I think that it's something I return to a lot? Maybe every year or so. But for what it meant to me as like a kid, helping me expand my imagination and love storytelling, it will always be a GOAT for me. Simpsons is maybe the best, maybe objectively the best sitcom of all time. And Buffy, I'm going to put a strong vote in for best drama of all time. But I also love them deeply, and people who don't love Buffy in the same way would not think it's one of the best things of all time.
That's true. I mean, Buffy is definitely up there. I think, Sex and the City is probably up there for me as well.
Would you say Star Trek? TNG?
Maybe not currently, but when I was younger, it was very important to me. I think that we talked the other night that the shows that I don't necessarily go back and rewatch, but the shows that I like, I'm like, everyone out of my way, I'm watching this. Like, I'm watching my stories. Drag Race.
Drag Race. That's the big one.
And Queer Eye.
Yes. Oh, by the way, Drag Race, really good season right now. Really fun. Be excited to talk about that at the finale if we have any Drag Race fans in the house. Love you, great job, nerds. Thanks for swinging by. That TMNT game does look awesome. Yes, Pathos. Yes, Glowcat. I have seen that. It looks rad. Actually, great job, nerds. Texted me the trailer for it. It looks really, really fun. Basically, it's that throwback Ninja Turtles game. And we only brought one of the cabinets to our new space. My Turtles game is in storage in a storage unit in Austin. I'll never tell you where. And I kind of wish that it was right here right now, you know? Maybe I'd play it more than the Sex-Men one. No, I'm just joking.
You always want what you can't have.
That's exactly right. Wow.
Well,
it's felt like a more low-key stream tonight somehow, but I don't know why. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I don't know. I think it's just flowing.
We're just flowing and glowing. All right, y'all. Let's get to our movie club. I'm a little bummed that Great Job Nerds had to take off early because I bet they would have loved to talk about this. Movie club. You know, I'm gonna have to clear up that delay. Just cue it up in advance next time. I gotta remember to double click in the OBS and. Oh my God, we're back.
Wowie.
All right, y'all. So our movie club pick of the week, and forgive me, was I'm gonna get the image up because I totally did not prepare like I should have. So give me 1 second. Let's kill time and talk. Was Interstella 55-55? Now, show of hands, who watched Interstella 55-55 versus, or had already seen it? Show of hands. Show of hands. Just letting us know who's seen it and who hasn't. Get this ready and go. Oh, it's movie club time. Whoa. Oh my God, look how tiny it is.
It's so little. Can you make it bigger?
Look at this.
All right.
There we
go.
All right, let's do this right now. There we go. Very nice. Thank you, everybody. Okay, Interstella 5555. Pathos rewatched it. Glowcat had already seen it. This was my first time watching it.
My first time watching it as well. Although, I feel like I have weirdly seen clips of this. Like, I was having moments where I was like, have I seen this?
Me too.
Or was it on in a party or something?
I bet that it was like on MTV or... I mean, there were music videos that were released at the time.
Yeah.
So, I will say this was a blast. I wish that we could have watched it at a fuller volume because Daft Punk... I actually listened to the entirety of Discovery on my drive out here, on the road trip to move here. I listened to that album. It was one of the ones I listened to. Really important album to me growing up. We were actually talking the other day about like music we listened to when we first got our cars in high school. And I distinctly remember listening to Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger before, like, in the months before I got my license and being like, I'm saving this CD. And it was the first thing I listened to in the car. Toonami, that makes total sense. Toonami, that's where, on Cartoon Network's Toonami. Yeah, that's where I'd seen them.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I dug this. We watched it on Amazon Prime. We watched it streaming on Prime. We thought that we were gonna like get a higher resolution of it through Prime, but it probably wasn't any different than what's on YouTube. I'd be really interested to see what this Blu-ray of it looks like, because the animation is just so gorgeous.
So pretty. So pretty. Wow. Yeah. It was so fun. It was so effortless. I was like, I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
For sure. It's really interesting. I don't think I've ever watched a like feature-length movie that is entirely without diegetic sound. That's almost entirely soundtracked to these pop songs.
You haven't seen like the Kanye or the Beyonce movies that are like their whole albums?
Right. No, I haven't. I haven't watched. I need to. I need to watch Lemonade. I need to put that on my queue list.
Me too.
No, I have not actually. But I think those might be a little more even different because even in those, like, I know I have seen portions of Lemonade, and I will say, like, Beyonce's, it's her voice and her lips syncing to that voice. It's different than this, like, just background.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, that was really my only criticism of this movie, was that I loved how it told this. I loved the essential conceit of it. I love that it was a big story soundtracked by this album I love. I think my only real criticism with that was that there were moments where I wanted the music to sync tighter to the image. There was a little bit of an off sync with characters' lips when they would sing along to it. Maybe that's part of my head because I know it's Daft Punk and not the Crescendos. But also there were moments where, like, just because Daft Punk's music is so like has such a regular beat to it, it's so 4/4. I feel like there was an opportunity to cut to the beat a little bit more, especially in action stuff. And sometimes it felt almost incongruous with the image and the sound because it was not fully locking into the beat. Maybe that's just my taste. Maybe that's just what I would have wanted to do.
I kind of liked that it felt more fluid. But yes, as Glowcat pointed out, a true space opera.
Yeah. And also, no, I like, I mean, we haven't, with most movie club stuff, we try not to talk to each other too much about it until this, and we try to watch it Monday night so that we have fresh thoughts. So we watched this last night. I did not realize, I had not expressed that to you, that I wanted it to be a little bit tighter on the cuts.
Yeah.
And therefore you had not had a chance to tell me that you liked it being vibier.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just thinking of, like, some of the fight sequences and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
But does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me.
Is that just my preference?
I feel like it could work either way, and therefore, in my mind, with this particular movie, it doesn't matter. It didn't take away from the experience for me or distract in any way.
I guess for me it didn't either. It's very nitpicky for me. It's very nitpicky in the sense that I like see like the punch, and I'm like, just put the punches on the beat. So it's
yeah, I hear you.
But
I feel like
but
I thought the animation was beautiful. The scene where they buried the hero and the flowers sprouted out immediately and like floated up was so beautiful. Ugh. Also the scene where right before he dies and he holds hands with does anyone have a name in this?
They did. They briefly, remember when they were being marketed, it briefly flashed their names.
The lead singer, like the central love story or the ill-fated love story when they hold hands and kind of go into this moment together. This like fantasy moment was really beautiful as well.
It really reminded me weirdly of the Don Bluth sequence from Xanadu.
Yeah.
Have you seen Xanadu?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When it's like when they go off into the Don Bluth sequence.
Yeah.
Felt that way to me.
I agree. Sort of like this spinning.
This floating in love sequence. Yeah.
Something about this movie felt very queer to me.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if there was any intention, but like I noticed a lot of the color combinations were very, very reminiscent of pride flags, particularly the pan pride flag and the bisexual pride flag. I don't know if that was intentional, but like the exact shades of purple, blue, pink, yellow, and obviously lots of rainbows and lots of like disco, and I don't know, it felt very gay. It felt very, very fun and very queer. But
I absolutely think I'm wanting to check with when the pan flag specifically was introduced.
I thought in the 90s, but I could be wrong.
It's weird. The has been found on various internet sites since mid 2010. See, I tended to think that it was newer, but I also with the colors, that's interesting because these colors also, speaking of like queer coded anime space adventures, a lot of the colors, so much Sailor Moon in this. Like the especially kind of like the fluffy cloud textures of outer space stuff.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think there's a lot of queerness of just in terms of identity. Now, in terms of what's represented in this, we don't really get any relationships that aren't hetero.
That's the thing. Is
like
the central love story is hetero, but even like I don't know. I just felt like I felt like the whole thing had a very fluid vibe, like a very,
I think,
open.
Maybe I don't know. I'm certainly not the expert on being able to speak on this, but I wonder if maybe since the theme about it is very much musical expression and expression of love, bucking against a system of control and monetization and evil, maybe it's just the freedom of it that is the queerness.
Yeah. And
maybe it's not specifically trying to code in sexuality or gender into its narrative, but it is simply about people who are literally like they're blue people from a colorful world expressing all this, being controlled by having their identity stolen and being commodified and controlled by this evil, wicked old white man.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's queer, even if it has nothing to do with sexuality. It's still a queer concept of rebellion.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, fun double meaning on the title. The secret star system, like secret galaxy, but also secret star manipulation system. Think about it. This happens. The flags are designed by people, and those people get vibes from things. This predates that, though, 2003. So Glowcat, yes, it does predate that, but I think that is the most elegant way to put that. The flags are designed by people, and those people get vibes from things. I think that is... I think that there's a whole science of vibes that we are not equipped to talk about right here.
Yeah.
But I think it's totally true that, like, I recently learned about bisexual lighting. Do you know about bisexual lighting? Bisexual lighting is blue and purple lighting in photo shoots.
Oh.
It's very popular right now.
Yeah. I didn't know that that's what it was called.
Me neither. But, well, it's colloquial called that on the internet. Who knows? Where that came. We can find it, but
Biology 101.
Biology. But like, remember when we had those matching, like the semi-matching pics that we took at the Prince concert, the Revolution concert?
Yeah.
We were bathed in purple and blue light, and those were our profiles forever. I had no idea that was bisexual lighting, but apparently it was. I love that lighting.
I do too.
It's wonderful.
We got some action in the chat here.
As someone who is non-binary, I find it to be a trip that WCW used the exact color scheme in the early 90s as the non-binary flag, that is. I gotta see it. Oh, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be way harder to find the WCW 90s logo for me. Oh my God! Yes, yes. Cause like what? Yes. Like you see that in that WrestleMania font. See the color scheme. It's harder to see it in these washed out old flyers. But the first WrestleMania is the exact same colors as the non-binary flag. That is fascinating. I love it. Randy Hogan. Okay, I'll look up Randy Hogan. Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
The first thing.
Straight up.
That's amazing. I love it. God. I think that color theory is so fascinating, and it can be like I mean, like, for instance, there's a very colorful movie we hope to be able to produce someday, and I would love to code stuff in like that. Mm-hmm. But also, who knows how it will change in the time after it, from WrestleMania to the non-binary flag to the pan flag to Daft Punk, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Do I think that there is sort of like a pansexual like acceptance and love vibing in the outer space scenes of Interstella 55? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe Glowcat's right. Maybe they vibed it out. That's so cool. I need to check out more retro wrestling stuff. All my friends are into it, and I feel like I just missed it.
Same. Same. I've gone to a few wrestling shows, live shows, but
Party World Wrestling?
Party World and some other stuff back in Austin, but
Great Job Nerds went to a lot of those.
That's so fun.
Great Job Nerds, you left at the wrong time, homie. You left right before Daft Punk and Party World Wrestling were talked about. Mm-hmm. Two of your favorite things. Did I hear wrestling? Look here. Oh. Okay, brother. All right. So, Interstella 5555. I reminded me of a few other like rock and roll musicals, specifically two in particular. One, Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, which I just realized is my staff pick this week. Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains with a young Diane Lane. Very much about a hip group being co-opted and perverted by the record company powers that be. Another one that kind of does the same thing. The Apple. And The Apple felt way more like this. Has anyone seen The Apple? It is a terrible movie that is basically this story about artists who become corrupted by the system. But it's this terrible 70s musical, also based on Genesis, like not the band, the Bible book. It's got some of the worst music and worst costumes. Canon completionist, there you go. So I bought and watched The Apple because it's very parallel to, as is Interstella, very parallel to a project that I want to make someday. So if you ever hear me talking about like disco, colorful, weird stuff, it's all kind of related to a specific thing I hope to make. Maybe I won't get to, maybe I will. The Apple I bought as like market research, and I thought I was going to eat it up. I did not want to bite that apple. Parts of it are really interesting, but holy shit,
so
parts
strange.
of it are so awkward.
Yeah.
But Interstella, I feel like it took a lot of those concepts, which on the surface are not that like esoteric of concepts, like artist It's Faustian. It's Faust. It's always Faust. It's the same story. What am I talking about? It's always just Faust, which is what the Apple's doing too. It's someone sells their soul to the devil in exchange for power and fame. In the case of this, Interstella, they're not selling it. They're having it taken from them, so it's a flip of the Faust metaphor to make it kind of that artists can't help but have this happen to themselves. Because in reality, they can't. You don't sell your soul as an artist. You get an opportunity that corrupts you.
I think that that's a good point. Like the breaking of the fourth wall with Daft Punk being nominated for the same award, and then the thank you question mark or whatever was on there. Was it thank you?
I think it says hooray question mark.
Oh yeah, something like that. That's a good point, because that moment kind of took me out, but I see, you know.
Yeah, and then when the crescendos win, their masks say great. God,
take it or leave it.
I would love to watch Faust Love of the Damned too. I've never seen that, but I know that that's Stuart Gordon, and it's one that I really need to watch. I also really want to watch Murnau's Faust, which is sitting behind me here, which is pull out. And then there's also finally Murnau's Faust, which 1926, always worth it. And then I don't know where it is in the drawer. I would try to pull it out, but it's in one of these drawers. Svenkmeyer's Faust is incredible. Svenkmeyer's Faust kicks much ass, and I highly recommend it. Also, my claim to fame, y'all, here's my personal claim to fame, is that the poet who wrote Faust, Wolfgang von Goethe, I'm related to him. He is my famous relative. He's my great uncle or something like that. But he's on the family tree.
Wow.
So I am damned. Whew, well.
All right. So should we? Well, I do want to say that Interstella 5555 is a recommend.
Yes, big recommend.
Big recommend. Super vibey. Just a pleasure to watch. Really beautiful. Great music. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, beautiful animation. I think that I was kind of mad after we finished it that no one in high school had ever told me about it. It was like rainbow bright anime space battles combined with this Daft Punk album I'm obsessed with. Why has no one told me about this?
Yeah.
Big recommend for sure.
And also thank you. I think it was Pathos that pitched that.
Yes, thank you Pathos and Glowcat for backing that up.
Yep.
Both of y'all were pushing for it. Okay, so we are. I think that our new alarm clock for the stream wrapping is our cat.
Yeah, that's Buck's right up against both of their dinner time, and they kind of wake up from their late afternoon nap, and well, I'm sure you can hear.
Yeah, it used to be that when we were in Austin, we were Central Time Zone, so we did this 7 to 10 for ourselves, and so the animals would get dinner right before we went on, and then go lay down and conk out with their post dinner. And now what happens is your 7 p.m. is our 5 p.m. So at 7:30 for us, it's the animals' dinner time, and they let us know. So why don't we come up with some staff picks?
Yeah.
And let's see who here. What do y'all want to do for? What do y'all want to? Just read your Apple comment, Pathos. What do y'all want to do for?
Movie club.
Movie club. Thank you.
Yeah.
I almost said dinner.
Apples.
Apples, peanut butter, mostly.
Applebee's.
Where are we at in movie
Apple
club?
pie.
Does it even matter? Can we start totally fresh?
I don't think it matters. I mean, I think a fresh start is great, unless we want to go like thinking about like space opera or disco or.
My God, part of me wants to pitch 2001 because you've never seen it. And because you should see that movie.
Yeah. What do y'all think?
Glowcat's pitching Knight Riders, which I feel like is gonna. Yeah, that's up there.
I mean, I feel like we're probably gonna watch that either way.
Setting it right there.
So
we're gonna watch it for sure. Either way,
I'm feeling
we'll be able
good
to talk
about that.
about it. So that's good. I got off on this space excitement idea before Knight Riders was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, fun sci-fi.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't let the previous week inform this week, unless it feels organic.
I feel like, don't we go like A to C though?
Yeah.
Musicals.
Space. Aliens.
Aliens. I'm looking at the
Disco.
dog. Disco. Speaking of disco, there's a movie that I really want to watch. Maybe I'll watch it this week. This. Thank God It's Friday, starring Donna Summer and Jeff Goldblum.
Ooh, fun.
I'm going to leave this out.
Oh, also, thank you for the reminder. Glowcat is saying that we said something about Japanese films, which is true. We were saying that last week.
We did.
Ooh, I like that.
Japanese? You like going to Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Japan and space. Well, now I'm just going to go down the Godzilla tip. Be like, let's watch Invasion of Astro Monster. It's about aliens.
We've been talking about Japan and Giallo specifically.
Right, but I mean, this also, this was produced by Toei and animated by a bunch of Japanese animators. Mm-hmm. So, it still fits. Okay. You guys, dog, cat, crazy bean time. Wow.
I hope y'all can hear the little...
A little pitter-patter. Let's pick a Japanese movie. Shin Godzilla?
I would rewatch that, for sure.
That occurred to me earlier to do Shin Godzilla. It's here. It's not on the shelf.
No, I'm just looking around.
Oh my god, I want to watch Cure so bad too, but I don't know if other people could find access to it. I don't think it's streaming. I think I bought a region-free player for that movie. Cure is the movie that Bong Joon-ho said was the best movie ever made.
Oh wow. Okay.
Akira?
Akira!
Would you want to rewatch Akira?
I would totally rewatch Akira.
So I'm looking at the... Oh, that's right. Female Prisoner. That's what I was trying to pressure you into last time. Was Female Prisoner. 701 Scorpion. Okay. I love these ideas. I love the idea of making it Japanese. Let's do a little... Oh, I was asking for clarification on the movie I was saying. Oh, Cure.
Oh.
Can you reach that?
Yeah. Can I?
It's right in your unscratchable zone. Thank you. So this is a movie by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, I think from 2003 or so. He's the guy who directed Pulse. For anyone who's... I love Pulse. This is, described as one of the greatest films of all time by Bong Joon-ho. Cure is a deeply unsettling masterpiece of its genre and has been shockingly unavailable on home video in the UK until now. Fortunately, we're not in the UK. This is a region. You have to have a player for it. Godzilla ripoff on Tubi called Rego, King of the Sea Monsters. Not recommending Akira. Got it. Yeah, and I feel like we just did the anime, but I love this Japanese. Okay, let's narrow it down. Mm-hmm. When are we thinking Japanese? There's let's get into an era or a subgenre of Japanese film. So we can do something. Hey, baby, June, go lay down. Go lay down, honey. Go lay down. Go lay down.
Crazy.
Okay, we could get it into a few different categories. We could get it into contemporary Japanese, like J-horror of the aughts, like something like Cure or Pulse or The Ring. Mm-hmm. We can get it into early Japanese filmmaking, like Tokyo Story or something by Ozu, something that's thoughtful and slow-paced, like late spring or early autumn by Ozu. We could do some Kurosawa, some classic samurai. We could also get into the exploitation era of 70s. We could do some 60s sci-fi.
Good pitches.
Goddamn Battle Royale. I want to so bad, Pathos, but I ordered Battle Royale on... The Arrow Video is putting out a deluxe, beautiful copy of Battle Royale that is supposed to be on the way, and I have to wait till it gets here. Let's see here. I'm gonna search here from Diabolic where I ordered it from, when the release date is supposed to be on this. Maybe it's on the way. Who knows? But yeah, we could do early Japanese art film. We could do Kurosawa, formalist Japan. It really depends on what aspect of Japanese filmmaking you're interested in. The more arty, the more classical, the exploitation, the crazy 90s and later boom of things that just go wacky and super violent and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We could watch Dead or Alive. Have y'all ever seen Dead or Alive? Because that's one I would love to. That's the one we talked about where the guy pulls his soul out during one of the fights.
Right.
Okay, it's still listed as a pre-order. Coming soon. Let's see here. I'm going to see if maybe they'll ship it this week. Maybe we can do it. Release date. Nope, 26th of April. Gotta wait another month. But we will come to that. Oh, and Pinocchio 964 isn't on streaming. I do have it. Where is it? I do have Pinocchio 964 on this tape that a member of our tape group burned for me. It's actually 964 Pinocchio.
Yeah.
It's the last one on there. We could watch it, but other people wouldn't be able to watch it if it's not on streaming.
Well, I feel like I feel like Japanese cinema is one of your favorites.
It is. So of the things I've described of like action, like what vibe are you wanting? Like, do you want something like we talked about Seven Samurai? We talked about breaking in our TV and our headphones with Seven Samurai.
That's
it's an
true.
epic. Tetsuo the Iron Man is also like, I love Tsukamoto. Have you ever seen Tetsuo the Iron Man?
I have not.
I wonder if Stephanie would like it. I think you'd like it. It'll freak you out. It's the one I've shown you with the like crazy black and white chiaroscuro images of like the screws and stuff and the wires coming out of the guy. Here. I've shown you it and you've been like, ooh.
Oh yeah. Ooh, scary.
This is a big, cool, formative movie.
Wow. I'm open. I feel like this is your territory.
Tetsuo is also really short. It's an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, I wanted to take it away from the more like modern exploitation stuff because we've been kind of in that tip for a while, and I wanted to try and introduce some more like classic stuff into the rotation. But with Japanese film, I feel like we could go all over the place. If I were recommending things for you to watch as touch points of Japanese film, there would be a few major ones that I would grab. One of them that I've been wanting to rewatch forever is Throne of Blood. I love Throne of Blood. It's Macbeth, but samurais. There's also Seven Samurai, obviously. There's also Tokyo Story by Ozu that I would love to watch at some point. High and Low. But these are like dramas, and then if we get into the bonkers territory of like Tetsuo and stuff, that's going to be like more modern, like more like video era, flying off the cuff, like the digital age of Japanese film and beyond. So it depends on where you want to start. Do you want to dive into something crazy and then work your way into the more formalist stuff, or do you want to go back in the other direction? Versus? I've actually never seen Versus. I only have seen 2LDK, which I brought with. They were both made out of the same filmmaking project. Versus is also a... Arrow just put out a nice version of it. I never saw Versus. But it's also part of that, like, aughts... that era. I feel like Tetsuo is my... Right now, just to show you where my head's at. Right now, Tetsuo is my front runner. And the only reason I'm hesitating is because I'm trying to think, are there any, like, classic Japanese movies that might provide, like, a more formalist in on some of that. Is the cat trying to scratch to get outside?
The cat's just losing his dang
All right.
board.
I'm going to feed the animals and take the pressure off myself for a second. Because it's too much pressure. Y'all discuss.
So I think at this point... Oh, that actually bounces the light kind of nicely.
Does it?
Yeah.
This is the other one I'm gunning for with my Miko Kaji. And
Kaji, female person... Oh, this was your staff pick 2 weeks ago?
It's always my staff pick.
Tetsuo 2 Body Hammer? It has
both.
Oh, it has both. Okay. You really gonna let's go to...
I mean, why don't we go on the Tetsuo route?
I'm I'm very interested in both of these. It sounds like Tetsuo, the Iron Man, is... can y'all hear that? Tinkling of the food. Like you said, is kind of essential viewing.
They're both essential viewing. Tsukamoto is one of my favorite filmmakers. Here's the fun bootleg I just got of it too. The fun bootleg I got that I showed off on the show. That's when you were like, "Oh, what's that?" So I feel like it's been a long time coming. Here's where I'm torn. I'll just be real honest with y'all. Basically, I love Tetsuo. I would happily watch it again and talk about it. I think that I have just been wanting to make you watch Female Prisoner for so long because it's one of my favorites, and I think it encapsulates a lot of different styles because it is very formalist but also very experimental.
Yeah, but there's no rule that says we can't watch.
There's no rule. Let's do Tetsuo the Iron Man then.
Yeah, and then we can watch this on our own.
Okay. Love these Arcadia of My Youth and Belladonna of Sadness. Going to so Glowcat, amidst all that madness, there's just too many options. This is us trying to pick a movie any night. Okay, so the staff pick the standard version or the first cut. I don't even know which I've seen. I've seen whatever version was on tape when I was in high school. Let's see here.
What do you recommend, Glowcat? Out of curiosity.
We do not have... Depends on what you have, really. As far as I can tell, the Arrow release of it, as well as the bootleg VHS tape that I have, are both, as well as the Tartan video DVD that I have. I own this video this movie on every format because it's one of my favorite movies. I think it's probably going to be the standard version. I gotta be real with you. I don't know. I did not know until you just dropped that in the chat that there was more than one cut of this movie in the world. 67 minutes. We could also watch Tetsuo 2 Body Hammer, which is 83 minutes. We could watch both.
Let's do the Iron Man.
Here, Tetsuo 2 Body Hammer. That's one of my most cherished tapes. Okay, the standard version. Well, then I guess that's what we're watching, unless we can find the cut elsewhere. But to be honest, I want to break in this Blu-ray from Arrow because they remastered it just for us. Well, this is really fun. Tetsuo the Iron Man. Very exciting. Cool. Thank you. Great recommendation.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And then Stephanie. And then my staff pick is Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains.
Okay. I think my staff pick, I think a few days ago we were talking about Herzog. And my staff pick is going to be Little Dieter Needs to Fly.
Nice. I love that movie. I've never seen Bullet Man. You ever had that thing where a friend tells you something and you just don't see something forever? I had a friend tell me that Bullet Man was a real disappointment, who was a big Tsukamoto fan. When it came out, he saw it before I did, and he was like, dude, don't waste your time. And I never did. And now I'm like, 15 years later, like, why did I just never see that movie? Because one person told me he didn't like it. Dumbass.
Oh my god. June? Did you eat up the kitty's food?
Yo, Glowcat, you're right about that, though. Honestly, I'm going to be too real and say that when I build out my Argento collection, I stop at opera. I always have stopped at opera. I don't really care for much what comes after that. Stendhal's okay. Mother of Tears is bad. I never saw Giallo. Never saw his Phantom of the Opera. Jennifer for Masters of Horror was disappointing. But opera, that's a high note to go out on. My God, why did I just forget it? Oh, Little Dieter. One of the best documentaries of all time.
I agree.
All right, so that's That's it, y'all. And the animals ate, and I hope that you were able to hear them munching and crunching. JK. My favorite Masters of Horror segment? That's hard. I didn't watch all of them, but I would say my favorite was probably... I don't know. It's been a while. What was the one with Ethan Embry in it, where he plays the hitchhiker? I really dug that one. That was fun. Incident on and off Mountain Road. That was good. I dug that one, and I dug Cigarette Burns, the John Carpenter one. And as heavy-handed as it was, I liked Homecoming, the one about the Iraq soldier zombies. Incident on and off Mountain Road is yours? Yeah, it's awesome. This is the first one that came to mind.
Oh, y'all cute.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like the person who wrote Incident on and off a Mountain Road, and I have to double check this real quick. Written by Coscarelli. But did it have another director or another writer? I wonder. Yeah, Stephen Romano.
Oh, June.
Stephen Romano was another one of the writers for that script, and he worked with Don Coscarelli on it. Stephen Romano was also known for putting together, what is it called? The Shock Cinema, like movie trailers. Stephen Romano's Shock Cinema. It was like movie trailers, old movie trailers. He also, same brain. And Stephen Romano also, in addition to that, got Gone with the Pope restored, as well as Star Crash restored. And I worked with Stephen Romano at Toy Joy for a year or so, and we got along really well and talked about movies all the time. And that's how I learned that he had written my favorite segment of Masters of Horror. And not only that, but he's got a book out he wrote with one of the people who wrote the Saw movies called Blacklight, which is a horror novel. And the bad guy in that horror novel is named Adam Protextor. That's true. Did you not know that?
No.
There's a bad guy in a horror novel out there in the world with my name because he's based on, well, not based on me, but he's named after me.
No, I did not know that.
Well, now you know.
Wow, you learned something new.
He wrote the sequel to Bubba
You learn something
Hotep.
new every 6 months after dating someone for 3 years.
Yes, he did write the Bubba Hotep sequel. He had just finished writing that when I was working with him, and he was so stoked. So, will it ever happen? Probably not. That was a while ago.
That's exciting.
I know. Crazy. Small world, y'all. I gotta say, as people who just moved out here, and before the stream was starting, we were both kind of lamenting, like we were both kind of looking at jobs and stuff, and we're like, oh my god, how are we ever gonna break into this industry we want to be in? Like, blah, 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 blah. It's nice to be reminded of how small the world is and how good people are everywhere.
Yeah.
So thanks, y'all, for another mood boost here on a Tuesday evening at the video store.
Agreed.
All right, we got some great picks. We'll talk about it more next week. And tell your friends, tell your loved ones that we are back, and we want them in the chat. Oh, as always, wonderful seeing you, Little Cut. Wonderful seeing you, Pathos. Great job, nerds. We'll see you next time for a little bit. And to anyone else who's watching this now or later, thank you. You can find archival episodes at youtube.com/babyline. We do this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am one of your two hosts, Adam Protextor.
And I'm your co-host, Stephanie Thoreson.
And you have been in a video store. Watch more movies. Get home safe. Black Lives Matter. Be kind. Rewind. And always have your outro queued up. You are in a video. And that's a vacuum. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. From Lewis to Mamoulian, Cooper to Leone, and Kobushi and Suzuki. These movies take you to New Orleans. We recommend it. Yeah. Never pretentious. Yeah. It's never ending. Yeah. Just where our head is. Yeah. It's one Kawaii, Slaughterhouse 5. Those Hollywood nights are Hong Kong on fire. I could watch it all night. Press stop and rewind. Watch it again. You're strapped in, ain't no stopping the ride. That's Ginger Rogers the time. Swing down to Broadway and lights. Ishii, Miike, Tarkovsky, Almodovar, Von Sternberg, Dietrich, Garbo, Garfield, Heathcliff, and Transformers over on the 80s TV show. You need a hand, we can reach it. Move in silence like Bernal Melius Mishu. Spending afternoons with Maya, then watch Freddy Got Fingers. It's all love for that silver screen. Baby, what that TV do? And we here every week.
skipping the previews. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. You are in a video. You are in a video. Welcome to the rental shop. 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 Welcome to the rental shop.